We're going. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. How's it going? Welcome to This Week in This Wrestling. This Week in This Wrestling.
You've been
It's
slapping
basement's
ass
fault.
cheeks too much. You've been slapping ass cheeks together a bit too much, JP.
Welcome to This Week in Wrestling, which, oh my god,
It's great. It's fucking great.
this week
Uh,
sucked. Ass. Bad. I mean,
When somebody
horrible.
says suck ass, do you think it's like the anus you're sucking or the ass cheek?
No,
I
I'm
mean-
talking about fucking wrestling. Sucked this week. All of it.
yeah.
Not just WWE either. All of it sucked.
Agree?
You're gonna disagree. I can tell you that right now. You're gonna disagree with what I say. It sucked.
I loved Impact, to be honest.
I did not watch Impact.
I heard actually really good things about Impact. I didn't get to watch it, but I heard things.
Actually, I have no idea. Impact can eat my ass. I'm
So-
sorry. I've never watched Impact. Impact is teach their own.
I agree.
Rest in peace, Ronnie.
Yeah, I just Impact can go suck a dick. I know Ronnie watches it. She's not going to be here when she does come back, which I'm hoping will be next week. She's dealing with family issues right now. I'm not going to speculate on what those family issues are. That's all I'm telling you. She gets back, she'll talk more about Impact. I didn't even watch NWA this week. I watched Raw.
NWA Power didn't have an actual episode this week. They did that thing with Connor, like Connor.
Yes, they did it's called Circle Squared.
Yeah, the Circle Squared, or the
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said circle squirt.
Yeah.
Squared.
No,
Yeah,
it's called Circle Squared. I guess they have YouTube
Okay.
podcasters come on there.
Our buddy, our pal,
There's-
OK Fabe was on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they watch videos of like
matches.
new wrestlers, like
Mhm.
matches between new wrestlers, and they decide, or they commentate, and then the fans eventually decide who gets to stay and who gets to go. This week there was a really interesting duo with a father and a son.
Yep.
Ew. I don't like that.
No, it was actually really good because the son was only like, I think he was like 18 or 19 years old. Father was only, late 30s or something like that.
Wait, the father and the son were wrestling, or were they
Yes.
watching wrestling?
No,
They
were
were
wrestling.
wrestling together.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't bad. I think I seen that match. I don't know.
I mean, with them being on YouTube, they're capitalizing on what YouTube can do, and it's good to have they're building in reactions to their actual show, which
And
is
the wrestling is not bad. It's not bad at all. The production value is not bad at all. It's just in a studio. It's not that bad.
I really like what they're doing with this, just simply because it has so much fan involvement. Because like, not only do they give the fans a chance to like record their reactions and send them in, but then the fans are also the ones that get to vote and decide who gets to stay and who gets to go.
Right.
So it's that connectivity with their fans that I feel like a lot of other businesses or a lot of other promotions are missing.
I honestly don't know how I feel about that. Having the fans vote on, I don't know how I feel about that.
well, they're gonna have to get to the thing is it's a show on YouTube.
Yes.
They're gonna have to interact with their fans. That's that's where they're gonna capitalize. I don't know if this is the way to do it, but
yeah.
I like the idea of having
Yeah.
like if from what I understand, if they're gonna show a wrestling match and have the somewhat popular fucking YouTube channels and the people that are into wrestling be on there and actually commentate on them as they go, that could be fun. It it raises the NWA, it raises a bunch of people that are on YouTube. It seems like a win-win for everybody.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. I just don't know how I feel about the fans deciding whether
Well-
or not a wrestler stays or a wrestler goes. I
could see what you're saying there, but like ultimately the way I look at it is if NWA likes the way that a certain wrestler or a certain team is doing things, then they're probably going to hire them anyway. So, I mean, they're not just going to let really good talents walk out the fucking door.
Better not, because then you're just burying yourself if you do so.
I think I'm gonna just
That's
shit my pants.
I mean, what?
but I'm gonna talk. I don't want to talk too much about this week's wrestling because I watched it and I was not impressed with 95% of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Y'all know that. I did not care for really anything that happened on AEW. I didn't care for anything that happened on NXT. I didn't care for anything that happened on Raw. And I for sure did not give two fucking shits about what happened on SmackDown tonight.
I will say that like NXT was good wrestling, but NXT is always good wrestling.
I'm going to say it wasn't good wrestling this week. I'm going to tell you why. After NXT TakeOver, and we're going to get into NXT TakeOver, the way some of them matches ended, they kind of carried. Not that the matches were bad. What pissed me off about NXT TakeOver, and we watched it together, were some of the decisions that were made, not in the who wins and who loses. It's the decisions that they made during the match or after the match. And if you know what I'm talking about, we're talking about the Dakota Kai. I'm talking about the Dakota Kai and the ending of the last match.
Yeah, with the
I
interferences,
do not
that
understand the decisions that they decided to make. It made
Yeah.
no fucking sense to me.
I mean, especially when it turned into, you know, Regal setting up the fucking steel cage for Knox and Dakota Kai. But, you know, I digress, whatever. But I mean, NXT, it was okay. I enjoyed the hell out of AEW, but I mean,
we'll get into that.
I only saw. Okay, so what do you want to start with? I think we should kind of like.
Well, I don't remember what happened on Raw. That's how fucking bad it was. So I don't
Mhm.
care what happened on Raw and SmackDown.
Sum up Raw and say it was absolute garbage. They're building towards Super Showdown. Who knows what's happening there, and who cares? Anyways, moving on to what do you want to talk about? NXT or AEW first?
Well, we
I
watched.
think we talked about AEW first.
We did NXT, so we can talk about AEW first. You want to talk about AEW first? That's fine with me. Go ahead. I missed the first 5 minutes of the show.
I mean,
it was good dish.
I mean, I'm gonna say the only thing that I didn't really like out of the show was that spot in the battle royale where like, I can't remember if it was Nick or Matt, like fucking jumped off the ropes and then like all the guys fell down in the ring. But
they all died.
It's not only that spot. There was another spot with what's his name, Jack Evans, who did a senton, and everybody caught him. It's like, okay, so this is something that AEW does a lot, and WWE does it too, to a bit lesser extent. But these spots where it's like
they're standing out there waiting.
Well, it's 100% choreographed. These spots are terrible. Like, I mean, you remember like the Tower of Doom and how for like I think last year they did it a bunch of times. The Tower of Doom was such a choreographed spot, and they did it way too much. Now it's this one person jumping off the ropes to the outside or in the ring where everybody catches them. It's just like, just move out of the way and let them fall.
No shit. Here, and you want to see something new? Do that. Here's my thing. I am really, and I'm not just talking AEW, I'm talking all of it. Stop with the fucking dives on 15 people when it physically is fucking possible for one person that is 180 fucking pounds to knock 30 fucking people over. Give me a fucking break.
It doesn't stop at the dives, though. It really doesn't stop at the dives. They gotta stop with the super choreographed fighting. I mean, there's a difference between I'm gonna watch an action movie and I see choreographed fighting. I know I'm watching a movie. If I have to watch fucking any pro wrestling and I see like yes, it does have to be choreographed, but the trick is to make it not look choreographed.
Well, they can't.
They don't give a shit anymore.
No,
it's like, we're going to make everything super choreographed to the place where it doesn't even look like anybody's fighting. We're all just doing patty cake in the middle of the ring, and then somebody wins. It's like, Oh man, it's that to me is not wrestling,
No.
and that to me is what's hurting wrestling. And AEW does it quite a bit, but WWE has done it for a long time themselves.
Mm-hmm.
New Japan has their own moments of doing it, and it usually happens when a gimmick wrestler is involved, or if a tag team match is happening.
Yep.
You don't so much see it in the one-on-ones. Usually the gimmicks they go with are hard hitting, which I like, but I don't know, man. That's killing me with wrestling.
Me too. I can't. Just stop. Stop doing the stupid, unrealistic shit. It's not even fucking cheesy. It's not even fucking corny. It's stupid.
I mean,
It's
I
not
get it.
even. Just stop fucking doing it. Because you know what? You're turning a wrestling fan off. Period.
Okay, so okay, they're kind of like two different arguments, I guess, because there's corny shit, but then there's also like these like really spot heavy matches that don't look like wrestling anymore. It's not that I hate the idea of spots. I hate the idea of a match revolving around them instead of it being a match that has spots in it.
But that's
And I
what.
think that's like the difference between when we saw the TLC matches of old. There were spots, but they were still wrestling during it. It
Yes.
wasn't just laying on the side until the next big thing, and then the next big thing, and then the next big thing. I wasn't a huge fan of. Okay, so we're talking about AEW. I wasn't a huge fan of the tag team battle royal, just because. First of all, it's a battle royal. Those are usually not great. The only reason I like the Royal Rumble is because how it's done, and that's all these guys started in the middle. But it's also like that it's I kind of have to look at it as a battle royal and say this is what's going to be, but at the same time, it's a gimmick match with a lot of gimmicky things that happened in it.
Well, I mean, I get it. It's a gimmicky match with gimmicky wrestlers because that's what a lot of the tag team guys are anymore is gimmicky wrestlers. It's turning me off big time to all of it. To all of it. I am so wrestling, and there's a I can't even remember. It's like a YouTube video where the Undertaker is talking about, and I think we've talked about this. We talked about this last week, where you do a flip. The next thing you know, that crowd wants to see if you can do two flips, and then they want to see if you can do three flips, and you can do three flips, do four flips. They want you to keep. Pretty soon, it's going to be impossible to fucking wrestle anymore. Wrestling has become nothing but people just want to see high spot flips. It's all fucking wrestling is anymore. There
When
is
I
no
watched,
more of the. This is why New Japan is better. I'm not into the tag team wrestling, but I'm more into the singles wrestling. I just can't. They don't do the high flying flippy shit all the fucking time. Even their fucking cruiser, their light heavyweights. Like Will Ospreay could probably do a flip. He could probably be one of the people that could do a fucking 1080 flip with no fucking problem, but he doesn't fucking do it. Because he doesn't need to. He's better at other things too, other than doing flippy shit.
I don't know. When I watch AEW, I just basically I disconnect myself. AEW is just it's a really fun show for me, and that's because I don't go into it looking at it like I'm going to critique everything that I'm seeing, and I just like shut down and I just enjoy what I'm seeing.
But it's kind of, again, it's kind of hard for a person like me that has been watching wrestling for nearly 40 years to shut that off and say, why wrestling isn't for me anymore. It's not. And I'll be honest with you, it's not for me anymore because I don't fucking like that shit. I hate it. I hate the high flying flippy shit. I don't want to see it all the fucking time. All the time.
So
it's a constant thing. No matter what match you see, especially in AEW, I see it, and you're seeing it really prominent in WWE anymore, is you have to have somebody that can do that fucking outside dive or dive off the top rope. in order for people to get involved in the match. I don't need to see.
Okay, so like, WWE is not the same. WWE is paint by numbers.
Yes.
Like when I say that, I mean you can watch the same match every fucking Raw or every SmackDown, and you're gonna see every single wrestler there have their touch points, and all they're doing is it's the same thing as fucking going on stage and acting for like a fucking play. All they need to do is go in there and hit their spots because they all have 5 moves or 10 moves of doom, and that's what they do. AJ Styles is the same now. He never was, but he is. That's WWE. AEW seems to like take it up a notch and want to do Cirque du Soleil at times. They get a bit too much in that realm, but they still have the thing is with AEW, they're still at times trying to tell in-ring storytelling. You have to look at where AEW came from. Well, you have to look at where AEW came from. They're birthed from New Japan. So a lot of them are tag team wrestlers, which is why you see all of these tag team wrestler spots. Just like you said, New Japan's tag team wrestling is a bunch of spotty, like it's not for me, but it's a bunch of spotty and like chaotic action. Their one-on-one is the greatest fucking wrestling you'll ever see. And a lot of these guys still had one-on-one experience in New Japan. So that's where, like, I mean, AEW is kind of like a mix and mash between things I don't like and things I really like. WWE is just like, fuck, I could watch a Raw today and watch a Raw 20 years from now and be like, oh, he's still wrestling? Oh my God.
Right.
You talk about like in-ring storytelling, and the match from this week that pops into my head is Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Like, talk about the in-ring storytelling that was going on during that match. At the end, when Kenny's getting pulled 2 different directions, and even during the match.
When did he get pulled? When did he? I don't mean to interrupt you.
There was that match where
I did not see any of that.
Okay, so like
I feel like it's Hangman Page. Well, sorry, Gina, you go ahead.
Sorry. During the match, there's a time. Okay, so like the only time that Hangman Page and Kenny Omega have lost a match was to.
Yeah, that I know.
Those guys. Okay, the reason why they lost that match was because they were out of sync. Well, at one point in time during the match, they got out of sync, and like Hangman Page hit the buckshot lariat on Omega, and then Omega hit something on Hangman Page. So everybody's like, "Oh shit, it's gonna happen again." But then they figured it out at the end of the match when the Young Bucks come out. The Young Bucks grab Kenny's arm, and Hangman Page gets back into the ring, and he grabs Kenny's other arm, and they're literally pulling Kenny 2 different directions. And Kenny finally shakes them all off, and he's like, "What the fuck, man?" So it's setting up the story of what's to come.
Yeah, well, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, we all do know.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Hangman Page is going to turn on Kenny Omega. Or
I think Kenny Omega is going to turn.
Well, Kenny
Omega is going to turn heel.
But that's the thing. When you say, I know what happens, and then you say 2 different outcomes, that's different than knowing what happens.
Well,
so I'm going to say, like, this has been the best part of AEW, storyline building-wise. For me, this has been the one thing I want to see happen. Because they've teased 2 outcomes, yet nobody knows which one it is.
Well, that's fine. But my issue is, Kenny Omega is just another guy right now. I mean,
which is, I think,
and the thing is, he should be, because he can't work on the mic.
I agree.
Yeah,
he just can't do it.
I honestly think that might be one of the reasons why they have him with Paige, because Paige is actually pretty good on the mic. But, you know, the nice thing with like Kenny turning heel would be, you know, because more and more now I'm starting to hear like AEW fans say, "I want the cleaner back." Like, everybody wants the cleaner. They want Kenny Omega the cleaner. So I think that's why I think they're going to pull that trigger, and they're going to turn him heel.
What's the difference?
There is no difference.
My problem with Kenny Omega is he can't pull off anything, and like he just seems weird. Like, he's just
he's super weird.
He's just a weird fucking guy. This is why they're using him the way I honestly think he should be used. It's fucking acting.
I said this to Heather the other night. I'm starting to think that Kenny Omega needs Kazuchika Okada in order to have a great match. A great match. Not just a good match. A great
I think in ring Kenny Omega can constantly deliver a 1-on-1 4-star match. You will never get a 5-star out of him by himself
But
against somebody that can't deliver
what
it.
everybody wants to see out of him. That's what
That's
I'm
not going
saying.
to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Kazuchika Okada could fucking wrestle a fucking stick and get a 5-star match at this point in
No, I
time.
agree with you.
Guy is that
But I'm just
good.
saying.
Like, I mean, he elevates everybody he's around.
I mean,
Right now, Kenny Omega is not that good. Like, Kenny Omega's, and maybe like I know I was a huge proponent for saying Kenny Omega go to WWE, you're gonna get there. Like, even if he signed with WWE, he needed to at least you're in the Performance Center.
Oh yeah.
He didn't sign with WWE basement. Let it go.
No,
No, he knows that. He's saying is.
What I'm saying is now in hindsight, he would, even if he did sign, he'd need at least a year in the Performance Center learning how to talk.
Yep.
Speaking of the Performance Center,
yeah.
Do you guys remember that? What was that fucking? Okay, AEW signed that Olympic wrestler. Remember?
No.
And they have him training. Hold on, I'm trying to find his name. Hold on one second. They signed Anthony Ogogo.
Okay.
What? Who? Isn't that AEW though?
He's an Olympic boxer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. AEW.
Oh
Okay.
no, I thought you said You said Performance.
No, AEW signed him. Okay, well they have him training at the I believe it's called the Nightmare Factory Wrestling School.
Okay.
Nothing definitive yet, but word is going around that, and this is from Cody's conference call that he had the other day.
That's a big one.
Apparently they are going to start training wrestlers with this Nightmare Factory wrestling school, and that's going to be like where they get the most of their new wrestlers coming out. Like anybody that they sign is going to be going there. It's going to be like the Performance Center, yeah. So, but I mean, there's nothing
to get there though, because right now I think it's just a wrestling school.
Yeah, there's nothing definitive out on it yet, but Cody did hint at it, and that is where the one person that they signed is training. So, and apparently Cody and I think the lead guy from the wrestling school, I think it was, they're going to the national wrestling competitions, the NCAA wrestling competitions, and they're going to look for signees there too. So they are still scouting for new talent, and they are trying to like build their own performance center so that these people know what they're doing by the time they get into the ring.
So I don't know if you guys are okay with it, but before we talk about the Cody conference call, I guess we can like finish off whatever we had to say about AEW.
Yes.
Cage match, fantastic.
I hated it.
Loved it.
No, it was a decent cage match. I just yes, was it predictable? Was it predictable? Yes.
I mean, yeah, but we all knew what was going to happen going into it.
I think they did it backwards. I would have much rather them not had it in the fucking cage.
The one thing I don't like, and I think it's just like a culmination of what happened on AEW, you introduce Jeff Cobb, he loses. First match, Wardlow, he loses. You've got these guys that are kind of like more powerhouses or bigger than the rest. Like Jeff Cobb's not, but he's a powerhouse. And you've got Wardlow, who's bigger than the rest. You've got two guys that like kind of need a push, and they start off bad. Because they're facing guys that they are pushing, which is Moxley and Cody Rhodes. I never liked the idea. Like I love the idea of like giving AEW Dynamite like I guess focal points throughout the build to Revolution, but I don't know if one of those focal points should have been Wardlow because it's a detriment to him to build up a storyline for Cody versus MJF. I just felt like I saw like two careers kind of like take a dip, but it was a decent match. I'm not gonna lie. I like the fact that they're employing the actual rules that should exist for cage matches. No escape through the fucking door and bullshit like that. It was entertaining. It was the best part of Dynamite for me. I thought it was decent.
I shouldn't say I hated the match. I guess I didn't like where they were going with it because we all knew what the outcome was going to be. It's just when was it going to happen? And again, I don't like that
I don't
spot
mind
off
knowing
top.
the outcome. I mean, basically
do.
MJF put 3 fucking things in front of Cody to fight him, and you knew he was going to conquer all 3.
Well, of course.
It was just, it's kind of like the idea of like a lot of fucking tales where it's like, I'm going to put these things in front of you.
Okay, so here's what I would have done. I would have rather, and not have this match here. I would have rather have had this match at Revolution and then had fucking MJF. And MJF say, in order for you to get a shot at me at Revolution, you have to beat Wardlow in a cage match at Revolution. And I would have been.
I think that they had that cage match in the perfect spot because Atlanta was on fire. That crowd was on fire all night long.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, like that puts me that really gets me invested in what's going on in the ring. The crowd does have a lot to do with what's going on.
I also feel like it's 2 weeks away now. So by the time that Revolution does happen, it's not going to be as fresh. If it was Revolution next week, then I'd be like, just like I treat WWE, why are you going to have a ladder match and then just have a regular match? But I feel like a regular match will benefit Cody, where everything is kind of like not benefiting him to this point in time. So I mean, I'm not this is the type of like this is the part of AEW that I can't really like nitpick because it's like I knew this for fucking 3 weeks. I can't really attack it now.
Sorry. That hurt. Okay. What did you say after that match was over? Like this match at Revolution, it's gonna be brutal. Like it almost has to be.
Yeah, I feel like if MJF doesn't get fucking destroyed, the fans won't get what they came for.
Nope.
So there's a lot resting on Revolution for MJF. He's gotta be busted, and he's gotta be beaten to fucking destruction at this point in time. They've built up such a match where everybody wants to see Cody Rhodes take him to school, and I still think he's gonna win MJF, but Cody Rhodes will probably beat the living fuck out of him.
Yeah,
I have a feeling at some point in time that might be turned, maybe next week, that might be turned into like a no holds barred or something.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to turn into no disqualification.
So there is one more thing on this show that drove me fucking nuts. The women's match.
Oh, I like the women's match.
I'm going to tell you this. When did somebody booping somebody on
I love it.
fucking goddamn motherfucking
It's so much fun, G.
No, it's not. That shit is fucking
The thing
annoying.
is, it's not that I mind the booping. I mind the fact that there's too much of the same in AEW. Like the booping, the shin kicks from Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, it's just like
fucking the floss from fucking Dinosaur Jr.
Yeah,
there's too much goof. Like the goof to wrestling to actual seriousness is
I don't
skewed
know,
for
man.
me.
I guess, like I said, I kind of put my logic out the door when I watch AEW. AEW is just one of those shows that I watch, and I just legitimately enjoy. I enjoy the fuck out of it.
But if you're gonna willingly put your logic out the door for it, then you could do the same thing for Raw or SmackDown and be like, "Oh, it's great."
Yeah, but like I could throw my logic out the window for like let's say Raw, and it's not as enjoyable for me.
But they do the same shit.
Not really though.
Yes,
I think it's more the wrestlers because like I like the wrestlers that are being presented in AEW a little bit more than I like the ones that are being presented in Raw. It's just it's a personal thing for me. I connect with those wrestlers more than I do with the Raw wrestlers.
Okay. I don't understand that.
I feel like the anything that reminds me of fucking what's his face? Penis wrestler?
Joey Ryan.
I like have such a short fuse for. I like I tolerate the goofy stuff, and I feel like it should be 20% to 30% of wrestling. When it exceeds that, and it becomes goofy for goofy's sake. I just like, what am I watching at some point in time? And I feel like you can't have AEW will suffer from having too many goofy wrestlers at times. I don't want to see Goof Central. I don't want to see the Goof Troop.
And that's all I got from this week. That's all I got. And me watching it because I don't do what Gina does, and I'm totally fine with how she watches these shows. But I can't do it. If I'm going to watch a show, I'm going to watch both with the same glasses on.
Well, I mean, I go into watching like AEW, NXT, even Raw and SmackDown. I go into watching them more as like an entertainment aspect, and Raw and SmackDown they don't entertain me, which is why I can't connect with them the way that I can with AEW. The stupid shit they do, it entertains me.
But okay,
NXT it entertains me.
Again, the same thing. AEW and Raw and SmackDown do the same
At
things
times,
that
at
AEW
times
At
they
times,
do.
but like the difference is like it's so heavily storylined. In when you see it in AEW, it seems like it's more authentic. They come out and yeah, they're goofy, but they're just being themselves. They're having fun. Whereas in Raw or SmackDown, they're scripted to be this way, and I think that's what kind of turns me off. But I did hear a rumor. I can't remember who said it, but I did hear a rumor that that Raw and SmackDown are supposed to be lightening up on the storylines. Oh, it was Heath Slater. I shared it in the chat the other day.
Okay.
I feel like. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
No, I was just gonna say, like, apparently they're supposed to be like lightening up on the scripted storylines, and Heath Slater shared it out on Twitter and was like, "Thank fucking God," or not fucking, but thank God. And that I can get behind that because those heavy scripted storylines is what's taking me out of it.
I will say, like, watching AEW this week, I thought it wasn't like it was probably one of their weaker shows. It had the cage match was solid, and they have been doing their best to build to Revolution. I think Revolution is going to be a good show because the build is there. But I throw caution to the wind with AEW because they tend to get a bit too gimmicky for me at times. They're right on that line to being too gimmicky and not being gimmicky enough, but they're definitely right on that line of being too gimmicky. But still, I felt like it was a decent show. I think AEW had the best show of the week personally, and I only saw half of NXT, so it's hard for me to say.
NXT
New Japan, I don't.
Yeah, you didn't watch
can't
New
watch
Japan. That's
weekly.
why.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys know me. When push comes to shove, yeah, I love AEW. I love WWE too. It's just right now I'm not liking what they're putting out. But
I'm not liking anything that anybody's putting out right now.
But
I'm not
in my
lie
heart, I'm a New Japan girl. You guys know me. I mean, I like the sport. I don't like necessarily the entertainment aspect of it. I mean, that's why I disconnect myself when it comes to the entertainment aspect of it, because
I can't.
It is what it is.
I can't, because if somebody's going to put out a weekly television show, then you have to do it right. There's shows out there that are chastised for continuity and shit like that don't deserve to be because it's like out of nowhere. But the fucking AEW, you got fucking. Why is Moxley wearing a patch?
Yeah,
First of all, why is he wearing a patch, and why is he beating Jeff Cobb? Why is this match even happening?
Yep.
But here's the thing with the fucking eye patch, like. Baseman and I were both kind of like, what the fuck? Like, take the eye patch off, because we all seen him at New Beginning. We all seen him fucking wrestle Suzuki, and the eye patch came off. So we know that there's nothing wrong. And his eye was fine.
And he wrestled for 10 minutes in the match without an eye patch. I like that type of continuity, and it pisses me off because it's AEW. WWE could get away with it a bit more because it didn't come from you. Like, yeah, literally, AEW was birthed from New Japan.
Yeah, and most of the AEW fans are New Japan fans.
We're going to do this on New Japan, and then AEW, we're not going to... The fact okay, if that was WWE and it was NXT or anything like that, they'd be destroyed on social media. The fact that this is like nobody talks about it, I'm like, where's the continuity here? Why is he wearing an eye patch when he doesn't need one? Unless he's gonna use it to be like, swerve, bitch, I didn't need one because you didn't see New Japan at all.
Right.
I'm like, why is he Jeff Cobb? Why is that match even happening?
It shouldn't have happened there. I don't mind if somebody debuts and they lose on the first match because oh well, it happens. Can't win every single
Jeff Cobb
is a different story. If somebody big debuts, you don't have them lose their first match. But then again, has he signed? I don't know if he signed with AEW.
Okay, here's the thing.
Can we please talk about that fucking press conference now?
Okay, yeah, here's Cody in the press conference. Cody said, and new developments have come since then. In the press conference, Cody said that they're working with Jeff Cobb to try to come up with a contract. Right now, he is actually not signed completely to AEW, because he still has promises with ROH and New Japan.
Correct.
However, they have been working on the contract. Cody, at the time of the conference call, had said that he was hoping to get something worked out. Well, tonight it just came out. I can't remember. I don't know. It came up on my Google, but they came out saying that they have offered Jeff Cobb a contract with AEW that would allow him to still do appearances in New Japan, just like Jon Moxley. He would be signed exclusively to AEW, but there would be that leeway, like Moxley and Omega, that he can still go to New Japan.
So my question is, if you aren't at that point in contract negotiations, why are you debuting him?
Exactly.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. He's on a story-to-story basis right now. I think they debuted him mainly to see like what kind of reaction he would get from the AEW fan base.
I'm gonna say no at all. Well, like that doesn't make sense. You don't debut somebody to see the reaction. You debut somebody to get a reaction.
But I also think that a lot of it was because Jeff Cobb, he was interested in AEW and he wanted to come and he wanted to see what they were all about. So they put him, he is in further storylines. Cody didn't, on the conference call, he didn't go into how far into the storyline he is, but he is scheduled for more appearances. So it's not like just like this was a one and done for him.
I know, but there's like a value to how somebody debuts on a company. Like this is like my whole argument against like that conference with Cody was they want to do what's best for the wrestlers, but in all honesty, it's going to be at a detriment for their actual company all the time. It's already happened in the women's division, and if you sign somebody and why the fuck are you debuting a guy you don't even know you have or anything like that? And then when you have him, you've already debuted him. So what do you do with him? He's just gonna be another fucking loser that's there.
Here's my question though. I'm sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, he's just part of a group. He's another loser, part of a group.
But here's my question though: Is it really a detriment? Because hear me out. Because regardless of if he signs or doesn't sign, if you advertise the fact that Jeff Cobb is going to be at a match in, say, I don't know, Madison Square Garden, people are going to buy tickets.
Are they going to buy? No, come on.
They're going to buy tickets. Like if it's Jeff Cobb versus...
They won't.
I don't know, whatever.
The thing is, Jeff Cobb's only a name that we know because we watch wrestling.
No, but what I'm saying, I'm not just saying Jeff Cobb specifically. I'm saying like a bigger name. Now, I can understand what you're saying for like the smaller guys, but when you have a bigger name, like let's say Lance Archer, a lot of people know Lance Archer from his time in WWE as well as his time in New Japan. If he comes to AEW and they do the same thing with him that they did with Jeff Cobb, people are gonna, like, let's say you have a match between, I don't know, Lance Archer versus
his first match
Jake
because
Hager.
They don't know they're signing him.
Well, I'm not saying, okay, the losing of the match I completely agree with.
I think it's more along the lines of like, how do you long-term story tell with these guys that are neither here nor there? So it's okay to have that idea with certain contracts, but those contracts should be like WWE fucking has those contracts. They have those contracts with Brock Lesnar, who doesn't show up when he doesn't want to. But like to have a guy that's like, oh, a big name, like say they get, for just an example, say they get Okada and he's neither here nor there. That could work. But it's a problem when you start signing regular talent that you might need and just being like, well, you're neither here nor there. We'll use you when you're here. You can't build long-term storytelling if they're never around. And when they are around, they're going to be there for, because Jeff Cobb or Archer, they're not going to draw a crowd.
Here's my question is, I don't understand. From what I understand, the problem with like a collaboration between New Japan and AEW lies with the New Japan head guys of New Japan. I don't understand where the problem is, because right now they're getting a lot of their guys that are signing with AEW, but they're still having shows. Well, then you get these guys like John Moxley. He had to drop the United States title because he couldn't make it over there because of the cyclone or whatever. So like, why are they just not collaborating together in order to eliminate any, or you have guys that can't wrestle at New Japan events in the United States because they work for AEW.
Because
why are you not collaborating together to eliminate that?
Because New Japan did not like the way that Cody Rhodes.
I understand that, but business is fucking business, man. I mean, these guys are on a national level. Sorry.
With business being business, I feel like AEW gets more out of this deal.
I disagree, because New Japan can take advantage of AEW in this aspect, because AEW has a major TV deal in America. New Japan is trying to break into North America. They would benefit greatly from having their athletes being on television in North America weekly.
But more people know. I can almost guarantee.
But how are they going to be featured? Because if they're in a place where they can win a championship, that would make sense, because they win a championship, then they go to New Japan. But that hurts AEW. Like, it depends if they're just young lions, like back in the fucking WWE, WCW days and back in the 90s.
For me, I would do it just the exact same way that New Japan and ROH do it. I mean, New Japan and ROH, they go for each other's titles. You'll see somebody from New Japan win the six-man never openweight championship from ROH, or you'll see an ROH talent win the IWC or GP junior heavyweight title. It goes back and forth, and the same thing could be done with AEW.
But do you think AEW can actually deal with a champion that either A, doesn't speak the language, or B, will not be there very often?
Fun fact. I actually found out the other day, over 3/4 of New Japan roster, Japanese wrestlers speak English.
There's a difference between speaking English and being understood. Okay, so bottom line is, like, I wanted to talk about the Cody Rhodes fucking thing. There's a couple things I want to pinpoint on this. Like his idea of like it's a good idea in its essence of being like, we're going to be the wrestling company for our wrestlers, but there's a reason it will never work that way, because eventually you're going to have to be a company that exploits your employees, because that's how all companies eventually work and stay afloat. So you can't just say, everybody gets the same contract, and the same contract means you can go anywhere and fight anybody. If we're going to sign you, it's just, to me, it doesn't. Eventually, there's going to be dissension in the ranks. You'll be like, Brian Cage signed, say, and you'd be like, well, why didn't I get the contract that said I could fight randomly if I wanted to?
I can definitely see that, because
I feel like
you start signing, and I feel like this was the detriment when they signed Moxley, because Moxley was actually the first one that they actually signed, aside from Kenny Omega. I don't count him, but the first one that they signed where he was allowed to go to New Japan. And now everybody that they signed, they're going to want to be able to go other places.
So people, first of all, people are greedy. Anybody that's out there that's a wrestler is going to be like, well, I'd love to be featured on your show and you can pay me this amount, but can I also work, somewhere else when I want to work somewhere else? Yeah, you can do that. It's okay. Well, more money for me, more life experience for me. Why would I decline it? But then the show is going to be like, well, it should be this match, but unfortunately they got laywayed in China because of a storm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, this is where, like, actually having a contract that prohibits someone from going elsewhere is going to be, they're going to get there. It's just like, it seems like a bunch of people that just like learned how business works being in a business together. But regardless, that's like one of my points. The other point was Cody talking about, the woke culture. We don't want to get into the woke. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You literally created a brand off of the woke culture. Like that to me was very infuriating because he started talking about like how, AEW doesn't want to get, like, as soon as you get into this or that, then you're gonna be in a part of like a conversation with social media about the woke culture. I'm like, you literally branded yourself as the woke version of fucking wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
As you can tell, Bobbit right there. I mean, Jesus, what? But anyway, no, I don't know, man. And this is.
That was the one infuriating
I
point I
listened
had.
to it, and then I got tuned out because I don't know.
The
I
other funny
just
part was like some guys like, will you be getting more people of color? It's like, well, we want to
see.
represent America the way America is represented with 10% black people. So we have one.
I mean,
The funny part
Jesus
was
Christ.
Cody Rhodes is like, we want more people like Scorpio Sky or Big Swole. We want more people like that. I'm like, what, black? You mean? You can't say it for some fucking reason? We want more people like that. What does that mean? Fuck you, Cody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Some parts of that conference were fucking hilarious, but that wasn't one of them. I'm like, oh, you want more people of color? Well, we want it to look like America today. More people that are like this.
Can somebody honestly tell me what America looks like today?
Yeah, America's about 10% black people. And if you want the representation, you got it because you got 40-man roster. You got one black girl, one black guy. Or
no, you're right.
Oh, like what the fuck? But you want it to look more like that, and like the fact that it was like some black dude is like, well, what are you doing to make it look? I'm like, oh my god, this is your problem, Cody. You guys came out catering to the woke culture, and now you're getting questioned by them for why you're not representing them. This is the beginning of a bad time. But it was said some of the other things that they said were interesting. I mean, I felt like it was a interesting conference overall to see where AEW is kind of headed. But some of those things just stood out to me, and I'm like, he did say that Jack Evans is one of the most underused wrestling talents, but he's like, that's the first person that comes to mind.
He said,
Jack Evans,
well, the question was, who's the most underrated wrestler? And he says, I don't like that word, underrated or whatever. Or yeah, I think it was underrated. He said maybe underutilized or underused, and then it'd be Jack Evans.
Did you guys did you talk about the fact that he said that he was keeping his eye on that wrestler and then Impact picked him up like literally less than 20 minutes later?
Well, 10 minutes. So Chris, that was after like the black dude is like, how are you getting more black people on this roster? And he's like, well, we've got a couple. We're also looking at Chris Bay, and he's like immediately signed.
And like 2 minutes later he signed Impact.
Yeah, so somebody on Twitter said like, Cody, you gotta stop sharing who you got your eye on, because apparently that's not the first time that like talent has been scooped out from underneath them.
I legitimately hate people like that. There's like, are you gonna get more people of color? It's like, well, are they good? But
yeah, so this is the problem. This is the problem. This is what WWE's having problem. Because not every fucking wrestler is great. Not every wrestler fits what they're trying to fucking do. This is why I don't buy into the whole creative control thing. Because the next thing you know, a wrestler, I don't want to work with him because he wants to do this. Well, I don't want to do that. Then where? Then where do you go? This is why they need to get a handle on their fucking wrestlers and say, this is the direction we're going. If you don't want to do it, we'll find somebody else.
I feel like they have a loose handle on it. I feel like
It's
AEW is
very,
actually
and
probably.
the problem is it's very fucking loose right
I feel like there's like a creative team that exists in AEW, but they're like, this is what we want to do. Is like that'll work. I think they're just more open to the wrestlers, and I think that's where they should go,
I hope
as
that's
long
what
as
it
it
is.
makes sense.
I mean, that I'm okay with, but if I get the wrestlers come in and say, yeah, I don't want to work with this guy because he wants to go in this direction, I don't want to go that direction. Okay, so now our fucking storyline's all
The
fucked.
thing is, eventually, like, okay, if AEW gets as big as they want to get and their WWE scale, then you're gonna fucking be literally dealing with men and women that are just diva mindset.
Yeah,
Oh, we're bigger than the company.
yeah. Which is
But
what's happened in WWE at times.
yeah, it was funny
Um,
that he mentioned that guy and he was
now that you
immediately
now that
taken
you
by someone
mentioned
else.
that, that's something that I wanted to fucking talk about. Them deciding I've been hearing this that AEW wants to get off of Wednesdays at some point, and somebody mentioned Mondays, and it wasn't Eugene, it was somebody before you, and I
No,
said, yeah,
it's
if they
yeah.
want to go to fucking Mondays, have fun.
I
I'm
just feel
sorry.
like
That'd be the dumb move. It'd be a dumb move because
I mean,
they're
I
still only gonna get their 893,000 views. That's it.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I agree with you. I would watch it because I like AEW, but um, that would be a huge detriment to them as far as running against Raw, or even if they were to move to Fridays and running against SmackDown. Running against a huge WWE show is a huge detriment, like especially right now, because right now you are still building a fan base, and to be quite honest, I don't know if your fan base is gonna get as any bigger than what it already is.
Nope.
I'm gonna
I
say
agree.
carriage before the horse with this one, just like having another show. In my honest opinion, AEW kind of like fucking. I mean, yeah, you have to have goals and everything, but like, don't be public with them so much. We want to maybe, yeah, we could see ourselves moving to Monday. I'm like, you might not exist in 5 years, to be honest. Like just like focus on building an actual fucking couple years viewership, because right now you still got like viewership higher than it probably will end up being. I still think AEW is probably going to end up around 600,000, 700,000, and that's where they're going to like lie, which is fine because they're on Wednesday, but they're also a wrestling show after we've seen all other wrestling shows. I don't know, man. It just seems to be like AEW just. I guess it's the questions that are asked, but like the responses are so like, "Yep, it's gonna be that way. Everything's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be good." I mean, not as many people are really watching cable TV, so you have to
No.
think about the decline for that too. So
Yeah, and I'm just so fucking sick of the fucking ratings talk. This is the thing with the ratings. The ratings don't affect me. And people are on Twitter telling me, well, it's the better show because more people watch it. But is it really?
that's like one of the stupidest
It
arguments
is
ever.
one of the
So,
stupidest fucking
no
arguments, but
point.
it's an argument that I have to fucking sit there and I've been tight-lipped on it. I haven't really said anything. I just say
Oh,
I don't care.
here's the thing about
I don't say anything because I know that next thing I know, I'm gonna have fucking 30,000 fucking people fucking shouting at me. You're just a fucking WWE mark. No, I'm not a
well,
fucking WWE mark, motherfucker. You don't fucking know me.
here's the thing about the ratings. As far as NXT and AEW is concerned, yeah, AEW has been up. However, that does not factor in people who are watching it through cooking channels
Or
um,
watching it on the
on
network
the network the
next
next
fucking
day.
night.
Exactly, because a lot of people, I think Canada, for instance, I think Basement, right? Like you guys can't even watch
It doesn't come on TV here.
Yeah, you can't even watch NXT until
So
the
you
next
probably
day.
have, fucking 500,000 people here or 200,000 people here in Canada that are watching it the next day on the network.
It's
Yeah.
just so fucking stupid. This ratings fucking war that there seems to
Okay, so
fucking
like,
be.
okay,
There
here's
is
the thing:
no
the ratings
such
war is
thing.
bullshit. This is why I will never
Hey.
respond to anybody that wants to talk about it,
And
because
and
it's
here's
meaningless.
yeah, and here's another thing too. Like it's not just with wrestling that the ratings don't mean anything. It's with everything. Like TV shows and everything that's on TV now. Ratings don't mean
The thing
shit
is,
because
ratings
people are
are
not watching a whole lot of regular TV anymore. A lot of people are watching your Hulus or
so.
you
Here's the
know
thing:
Netflix, shit like that.
for everybody that's just like looking at whatever the ratings number on that we can see, they might as well just fucking shut the fuck up, because anybody that's investing millions of dollars in something knows there's Hulu, knows it's not airing in Canada, knows all of the things we're talking about, because you're not going to invest millions of dollars in something and be like, well, like, obviously you're going to know
Mhm.
that, like, there are other means of watching something. So anybody that wants to talk about ratings, it means nothing. And I see it on Twitter every fucking week. Well, guess who won? It's like, well, guess who cares? Not me.
Yeah,
And if you engage in the conversation, you're just gonna be fucking waylaid by a bunch of fucking stumps.
right. And I've had that where I said yesterday, somebody had asked the question. Sorry, I'm typing.
I
Had
could
asked.
tell anger typing.
No, I'm
Uh,
not anger typing. I had
my
somebody
hardy
had
version
asked the
too.
question. Somebody had asked the question. They gave you the numbers, 893 to 700 and whatever thousand,
Hmm.
and then there go thoughts. I said, I don't care. And then somebody tweeted at me snidely and said, I don't care that you don't care that I don't care that you don't care.
See,
Okay.
Okay.
this is why
So then
if
my
I don't
question,
Children.
care,
but
this is why if I don't care, I don't respond.
well,
Then I'll
well,
never be
I get
involved in
that.
some
I
sort of
get that. I get that.
de-evolution
I
of
get that.
brain cells.
I get that. But I added on to that. Why do I care about ratings? Ratings don't affect me. What do ratings have to fucking do with me watching a fucking show? What if I didn't watch it? The show would be 892,000 or
Maybe the people that are
893,999.
upset about ratings are people that are a fan of numbers more than the
Yeah,
show. I don't give
it's
a shit. I
stupid.
don't. The thing is, like, I don't care. I'm not gonna.
Here's the thing:
Like,
a
all,
show
all you're
could bring
doing
in.
is getting to a point where you're gonna fight fucking retards or people that love numbers.
No,
Here's the
you're
thing:
right.
a show could have 5,000 viewers, and that could be one of the shows that I enjoy the fucking
Yeah.
most out of
How
any
many
of the shows that
shows?
I've seen that week. Like, I
How
don't,
many
numbers don't
shows?
mean anything to me because numbers don't tell you how good a show was.
No. How many shows have been canceled just because they didn't have the viewership, even though they were great? Bottom line is,
Fucking
like,
Lucifer.
well, it came back. It's on Netflix. But all I'm gonna say is, like, bottom line is, like, the actual viewership only shows you who's hitting that hot topic at the moment,
Well,
which is why WWE always goes for, oh, we gotta get Jerry Springer because that's gonna bring the numbers.
well,
But then I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, fucking want to
if you
bleed out of
want
my
to
fucking.
know who actually won the fucking ratings, if you want to talk about who's winning and who's fucking losing, the Democratic debate had
Yeah,
Ah,
it's ridiculous.
7 million people fucking watching it
I
compared
saw
to
the
nine hundred
funniest shit.
thousand people watching AEW. So who do you think is winning ratings? Because
Yeah, but if you had to,
I
like,
actually
go,
also said onto this, I said half of those fucking people that are watching the Democratic debate, well, actually, what is it? 1/7 of those fucking people are fucking kids, 18 to 49. They care more about fucking politics and what's going on in the world today than what's happening inside a fucking ring between two or more people wearing fucking underwear.
I'm also gonna
That,
say kind of bullshit on that because, like, I mean, 18 years old, are they living
well, it's
alone? Do
no,
we know this?
the 18 to 49 bracket is what the big, where the ratings are at. That's where they have them. That's how they rank them. So
Because
that's why,
that's like the
But I
that's like
just
the
wonder,
main
like,
that's the
when
main
somebody's
age
like,
that you're going to be watching TV. That's the reason.
yeah, well, fuck, TV can eat my ass. The
Mhm.
Democratic debate or whatever the fuck, I don't give a shit
Oh
about
my god,
politics.
I
I'm
saw the
with you.
funniest picture of Joe Biden. And, like somebody put a Snapchat of him
but
dressed up like a
it's
clown.
just like
Oh my god.
You got a bunch of fucking fossilized cunts talking about, I want to be president. It's like, man, you're going to be dust in 7 years. What the fuck
right.
can you be
But
president of?
no, I get that, but I'm just saying that's what's really winning the ratings. So apparently we need
Yeah.
to put two 70-year-old men on a podium in the
Oh
fucking
god.
middle of a fucking ring and
Well,
have them talk.
No.
The thing is, wrestling
Some
is
ideas,
is
JP.
wrestling is becoming like it's already a niche, but it's becoming super niche, like NASCAR.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the future of wrestling. It'll be NASCAR in the next 10 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a bit more widespread than NASCAR,
Mhm.
but it will be NASCAR soon.
Mhm.
Anyways, let's continue because
Yeah,
well,
what do
fuck
we
it.
got for news?
I just wanted to get Bobbitt. They haven't talked much. Bobbitt and Trex. I know Bobbitt threw in his 2 cents as fucking BB-8, but Trek, any thoughts to what we've talked about so far? I keep
You know,
forgetting.
if Cody wants to go on to Monday night, good luck to him because it's not up to him. It's up to TNT and it's up to it's Tony Khan, I think,
No,
right?
it's not
Tony
even up to Tony.
Yeah,
If Tony
no,
Khan
it's
wants to
not.
do
No,
it,
it's
it's up to
the
TNT.
TNT.
Yeah.
Because if they really want to get wrecked again, that's what's happened. Because the last time somebody tried to go head to head with them on Monday night, it was Impact. They got trashed.
Well,
Do
it's
you?
not. It's not even just that. Don't they have basketball on Monday nights on TNT?
yeah.
There's so much.
Once in a
The
while,
thing
yeah.
is, like, breaking into Monday, I feel like it's a detriment to move. They're going to go to Monday
Absolutely.
nights and lose 250,000 people.
Mhm.
Is what they're going to lose. So just stick on
oh.
Wednesday. Anyways.
I'm sorry. One more thing from that Cody conference call.
Okay.
The fuck, my brain just went numb.
Okay.
Continue.
Nyla
I'll
Rose?
remember it. I'll continue
Bobbitt,
on. I'll remember.
anything you want to add at all?
Yeah, I agree with basically about how like wrestling's is becoming super niche now compared to other stuff in the world because
Everything in wrestling has been done, and there people are trying to capture. And Undertaker said it best. I don't remember who he was talking to, and I think it was an interview. Person does a flip. Somebody wants to see somebody do two
Yeah.
flips, and then it just
That's the
elevates
reason
from
it's
there.
becoming super niche.
Yep.
It's
I remember-
what AEW, like, not only AEW, but like what wrestling is becoming is fucking 18,000 flips. A guy that does the 680 is like, oh, I can't wait till the guy does the 720.
Right.
Eventually, like, if you don't tell a story in the ring, you're dead. Dead in
Yep.
the water.
Yep.
NASCAR.
I remember.
Go
I
ahead,
remember
Gina.
what it was. Somebody asked Cody Rhodes if we were going to be seeing any more like WCW named pay-per-views after
Oh
Bash
yeah,
at
I
the
did
Beach.
hear. This is one.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And he said that. Sorry, that was my phone. Oh no. But anyways, he said that we will see one
Wink,
major
wink, wink.
one coming, which I think is Halloween Havoc, because he said
Yep.
he copyrighted a whole bunch of them, but he said not to be expecting any more WCW themed pay-per-views. I don't even think they're going to do Batch at the Beach next year, from
Yeah.
what like he was saying. But I do see them doing Halloween Havoc, because he kept on like majorly hinting at one huge one, and then he said wink wink, and WCW, the biggest one that they had was Halloween Havoc. So
well, besides Starcade.
Yeah, I was gonna say Starcade.
yeah, Starcade could
But
be it,
WWE,
but I mean,
WWE has a grasp on that.
yeah. So I'm thinking that we'll probably see Halloween Havoc make a comeback this year, but yeah, that was it.
Well, I mean, Spring Stampede.
Oh, I'd love that one.
But anyway, yeah, I do.
Uncensored.
I don't care about if Halloween Havoc comes back. I don't care. If it comes back, it comes back. If they have it, they have it. I don't care what they name their pay-per-views. Just I don't care
Mhm.
about the name. I care about what happens inside the fucking ring. I don't fuck the name. I don't know why they
I
have
feel like
to-
there's a difference between people. Like, If Chris Statlander booped my nose, I'd punch her in the face.
I
Oh my
would've
god, I
punched-
want a
I
nose
would've
boop so
punched her.
bad.
I would
I
have
mean,
punched
just
her.
because I don't like, I'm not a fan of her character.
I love her. Like, I want her to boot my nose so bad.
Man. Want her to boot my nose because that's clearance, right? To punch her in
I
the
mean,
face.
you wouldn't punch her in the face, Basement. You would
No,
take
I
that as
just feel
sexual
like-
invitation.
I'd punch her in the face.
She'd boot my nose, and I'd be like, "I want to punch you in the face."
But
I-
let's go to my bedroom.
Yes, let me punch you in
I would
the
tell her,
penis.
do not boot me because I will punch you in the face, and I will if she tries.
I'm gonna
Um,
boop him next time I see him.
All right, what's next?
I did hear that I think it was Jim Ross said AEW is only interested in big athletic guys for now. I'm like, yeah, that didn't hurt WWE back in the day when they were the land of the giants. That didn't hurt them at all.
They're
That's
only
the thing,
interested
though.
in big athletic guys. Their whole fucking roster is 210 pounds.
But
Yeah.
that's no. AEW, like they're talking about the guys that are like the size of Wardlow and Jake Hager because they don't have guys that can fight those
They
guys
have
right
them,
now.
but how have they used them?
Because they only have Jake Hager and fucking
So they haven't
Wardlow.
used them, you mean? It's like, well, we got this big athletic guy. We're going to just stick him in what looks like he should be on a yacht.
Yeah,
The other guy's going to lose in his first match.
and he hasn't done anything. One of them hasn't
I mean,
spoken.
To be honest, I feel like Wardlow will wrestle after this moment. I hope.
he's gonna wrestle.
Wardlow, he's a good wrestler. I mean, he looked good in the ring
Yeah,
to me.
I didn't care.
Jack
He
Hager
didn't
fucking-
impress me.
Jake Hager
Whatever.
could go kiss my ass.
I do
Go
not.
kiss
I've
ass.
never liked him personally.
Jake
No,
Hager?
he walks around like a Cro-Magnon man and like kicks people in the balls. That's how he wins his fights.
Oh,
Because
no, man.
It's a type of human before human. he
my
walks
God.
around like a Cro-Magnon man. I mean, that might have been one of the best things.
Chuck, I love
say.
you.
Oh no, it was
Oh,
great.
Chuck.
I mean,
Look
I
at him.
agree with you.
if you
Whenever Trek speaks, it's like somebody did him wrong.
I love it.
That person did him wrong.
That Cro-Magnon man.
they put all this attention on Hagar, and then if you look at him last week when he was on Dynamite, when Dustin challenged him, he's walking around like I keep wanting him to watch. He's walking around like Lurch from the Addams Family. He
Yeah.
Oh
looks
my god, I love it.
He stared at his doorstep. What do you look like? Well, you look like a Cro-Magnon man.
Sam
well,
is
not only
so
that,
such
but like I
conviction.
said,
I love it.
He's fucking around like a Cro-Magnon man.
every time he's been in a freaking MMA fight, all he's done is kick that guy in the balls. He did it twice last time, so he wouldn't lose. So they had to give him a no contest. It's just if AEW thinks he's the future of the company, then I'm scared.
Oh my
That-
God, I
They
love
don't
this
think he's the future of the
conviction.
company.
At the end of, he walks around like a Cro-Magnon man. If AEW thinks it's the future of the company, they're wrong.
I love you so much. Like that was great. You were so such.
You're
You
so
speak with such
angry
conviction.
for
I
no-
love it.
So angry
like-
for no reason.
It's
no,
conviction. It's not anger. It's
Oh
conviction.
no! Well, he just like he says it like
Oh, I love
fucking
it.
Jake Hager did him wrong.
I just love it.
I'm gonna find you, Hager, and your family, and I'm gonna shell you,
You Cro-Magnon man.
fucking
God, I love it.
human.
He has passion. I like it.
Yeah, the
So, do you want to talk about NXT real quick?
Yeah.
Ratings.
Well,
No,
we'll
sir.
get into that. We'll get into Takeover in a little bit. Just
eons away from where we should be.
we are.
Yeah.
But
that
I don't want to spend up. I'm not gonna lie. I did not. Again, NXT did not. It wasn't very good. It wasn't. None of.
I agree.
Again, like I said, none of the wrestling was very good for me this week. I just was not entertained. I sat here literally bored off of my fucking ass all week with wrestling. Seriously.
NXT was a huge letdown because, like, after what happened happened in Portland with Johnny
Well,
Gargano.
we're going to talk about that. That's where it fucking started for me.
Well, I mean, like, fuck. I felt like having Ciampa come out was the wrong move. Like, they should have had Gargano.
I
And
agree.
he should have come out and run a huge
I
heel promo.
I wouldn't have minded Ciampa coming out, but I would have had Gargano stand at the top of the steps. Do you really know why I did what I did? You really don't even know, do you? That's what I would, but they didn't do that.
Yeah, no, Gargano was nowhere to be found, and I was just like majorly let down.
That's why I did NXT this week. I may not even do a show next week at all. That's how disappointed I am in fucking wrestling right now.
I mean, the fact that like it's a double disappointment for me because like Takeover asked questions, they didn't answer it in fucking regular NXT. But why? Like, I mean, it's
I don't understand why they continued this feud. Like, I mean, I understand that there was never a definitive end.
I can tell you why they continue.
Well, it's ratings. It's ratings.
No, they just want a feud. They just want a feud that they had before AEW when everybody was just watching NXT.
To try and bring people back in, I'm sure. But I'm
gonna tell you right now. I
don't understand why they fucking continued this because I don't. Don't get me wrong, Ciampa and Gargano they're gonna give you a fucking great match, but these two there's so many other potential fucking people that they could be using against these two. I don't understand.
This is 100% a huge mistake. 100% a huge mistake. I would have Ciampa win the title at Portland.
Mm-hmm.
I would have him hold the title until SummerSlam or around there, and then like through the fact that they've been through everything together, like have a respectful match for the title. Being like, you know what? Like, I've beaten everybody else on the roster or whatever. I'm still holding the championship. The only person that makes sense to fight is the person that's always been either at my side or against me. And that's where the feud should end. Get to the point where it's like respect versus respect instead of being the way it is.
A friend of mine, after fucking Takeover Portland ended, he was on fucking Facebook Messenger just fucking raging because he had just bought a DIY shirt. They just put DIY shirts back up on
that happened
shop.
The first time too.
Yeah, and he's like, what the fuck? I want my fucking money back because he just bought this shirt.
That's what happened in Toronto. When they came here, they were like, "Oh, sell shirts." They immediately turned on each other.
Yeah, like I just feel like it was a detriment because DIY has always been such a popular tag team, and you finally bring these two back together. They should have had a run, not necessarily as DIY where they're solely tag team wrestlers, but where they're DIY where they have each other's backs. Like Basement said, continue it on, and then have the feud end in a mutual match.
I think they should have been separate for the next 6 months, and then eventually be like, Ciampa's run through Finn Balor, he's run through whoever else came his way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, oh, who else am I going to go against? And then Gargano's music hits, and it's two faces fighting for the title out of respect, because that's a storyline you very rarely get in wrestling.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one that's they could just bill it as the last ever fight between these two guys because of respect, and they literally never fight again, and I'm okay with that.
Right. Do you get the feeling that this may be a loser leaves NXT?
That's what I was thinking too.
I've heard that.
I mean, I don't think so because I don't see either one of these guys going to the main roster. To be honest,
but again,
what do they do?
One of them's elite. One of them's going. I can see it already.
And now that, but Ciampa keeps every time he gets hurt, he keeps holding his neck. So I wonder if he's just ready to call the day.
No,
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's holding his neck. I mean, for fuck's sake, at Takeover, I'm going to say right now, I thought that Ciampa broke his neck all over again at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
When he fucking hit, in the replay, I seen that he actually hit in between the shoulders. But
Mhm.
when he first hit that announcement table, I thought he hit his neck. I
Well,
thought
we
I was
all
like,
did.
oh
Well, I
fuck.
was in the same way because I cringed when that happened.
Yeah, I was like,
We were
fuck, man,
sitting
like
there
that's right
watching
where
it
he
because
had
I
a
went,
surgery.
"Ooh." I didn't
Yeah,
cop.
because like
I
I
was
think
like,
his
that did not look good.
well,
But
because
you
I think
see,
his surgery is like right around where mine was, and that's where I thought he hit, and I was like, oh fuck, but
The back of his head hit, but his
I think it was
shoulders hit
his
his
first.
shoulders took the brunt end of it. Yeah.
But like, okay, so say like, what do you see happening with Ciampa or Gargano on
If-
SmackDown or Raw?
I
Really, like,
don't
what do you
know.
see?
Nothing.
I don't know.
205 live.
Absolutely nothing,
It-
right?
No,
Like,
I
I
don't.
can't
I
even
don't.
pinpoint where they
I'm
would
just,
fit.
I'm just
Hey,
as I have this funny feeling that one of them is leaving NXT.
Here's the thing, though. Here's what I don't understand, okay? Because like Triple H has made this comparison, and you guys know this, where he said that he sees him and Sean both see a lot of themselves in Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yes.
Ciampa
Like the
is
small version
Triple
of them.
H. Yeah, where Ciampa would be like the Triple H and Gargano is the Shawn Michaels.
Uh-huh.
So I don't understand how breaking them apart right now is a good move, because if you would have kept them side by side and brought them both up to the main roster, then you could have used them in like a new age DX or something like that. Like, I'm not saying that's what I want to see, but I'm just saying you could have ran that angle with them.
This kind of leads to my biggest point. This was a huge misstep for NXT in my mind.
Mhm.
I mean, they're going back in time, and they shouldn't, and there's no reason to. I mean,
Agreed.
how long has NXT kind of like? There's been so many times with NXT where I'm like listening, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I think this is gonna happen because they need to change this, and they don't. And NXT just continues to do the same thing, or they keep the same champion, and for the most part, they've always been right. But I feel like now they've entered the zone of being too long, and everything's been overproduced in a certain way. Like Adam Cole right now, like he had a good run. He doesn't need the championship. And on top of that, I mean, how many things in NXT is anybody watching been like, oh, they're gonna change, but they don't change. Now it's like, if you're gonna predict what's gonna happen on a takeover, the best thing to do is nothing changes hands. You probably get 3 of the 2. But in the end, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Prime example of what you're saying, Basement, is like, look what happened with Keith Lee this week. Like Keith Lee and Dijakovic.
Yeah, they're continuing that feud.
Don't get me wrong.
Why?
Don't get me wrong. I love when these two wrestle because they're both great. But why?
I don't love it anymore. I mean,
don't wanna see it anymore.
the bottom line is I watched Takeover, and I know like Heather was like praising this match,
It
and
was
for
good.
good reason. But I've seen it.
Right.
I've seen it fucking 1,000 times. So it's one of their better versions of fighting each other, but it's so fresh in my mind. I'm like,
Right.
why is this happening? You have other people for him to fight. Make that happen. Like this whole Portland takeover turned into just like I'm starting to look at NXT in a different light. I'm starting to look
Me
at them as
too.
being like, oh, a great way to, like, we're not great at booking. We just fucking book the same thing 10,000 times.
Agreed.
I'm starting to see this fucking retread old trails constantly. Oh, that was good. They'll love to see it 8 times.
Yeah.
Have you seen this before? How about the 9th time?
Yeah.
Hey,
We
Go ahead.
sit here and say we don't want to see it on Raw and SmackDown, and now they're starting to do it on NXT.
This is my fucking biggest gripe.
Again, it's because they're on fucking weekly now. They're on 2 hours a week on fucking USA. They're now being billed as the third brand. They're starting to be booked just like Raw and SmackDown.
And I call
I
100% bullshit.
I probably wouldn't have such a big deal with it if they didn't have such a large roster. Because like, I mean, if you look back in like the
Where's
when I
Dexter
started
Lumis?
when I
Oh,
started
it's
watching
dead. Okay.
when I started watching wrestling at the end of the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression Era, it was a lot of times you saw the same guys wrestling each other. However, their roster wasn't anything compared to what it is now, even in NXT. They have so many guys and girls that they could utilize, and they're not utilizing them. So it's just like hoarding fucking talent.
Well, the thing
they're
is, like,
not
NXT
hoarding.
has 5 matches, and all of those matches are congruent with like every single fucking star they have. It's like, where's your undercard? And it doesn't exist all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Where
The
are
only one
guys
that I've
could
seen is
become
Kaden.
talent?
Yeah, the only undercard that they're utilizing is Kaden. Whatever her name is.
Aiden Carter?
Yeah. Like,
Chelsea
she's the
Green.
Is Loomis even signed with them, or is he
Yeah,
just
he's
fucking
signed. He's signed.
jacking off in a corner? Because
Well,
we'll never see him.
He showed up on an NXT live show tonight.
What does that mean?
With Rick Buguez.
Yeah, Bugenhagen
Bugenhagen!
destroyed.
He showed up in Milwaukee.
I
They were
don't
in Milwaukee.
understand.
They were in Milwaukee, and he showed up.
Okay, here's that. Don't even get me started on Bugenhagen, because that was like a
Rick
huge
Bugenhagen.
failure.
It's a huge failure.
That was a
one of the
huge
biggest
failure on WWE's behalf, because like he was so fucking red hot when he came out as Bugenhagen. Jesus,
What a huge
they could have sold so much merch with that guy and sold so many tickets just with him alone, because he's a big
feel like
guy.
Bugenhagen is the better version of Elias.
Yeah,
And they
exactly, because he's like a mixture of
we
like,
already got you, apparently.
yeah, he's a mixture of
WWE's
like
can
Elias
he
mixed
talk?
with like,
Can he speak? I have never heard him speak. I've seen him do the fucking guitar thing. Never heard him say
Well,
a
I
fucking
mean,
word.
anytime, like, I'm pretty sure I've heard him talk before he did the
he's
guitar
run
shit.
promos
Right.
in the ring.
But is it noteworthy? Is it memorable?
It was decent. I mean, it was fun. It was lively. He
Okay, so here's
did a
the
good job with talking.
Because I haven't heard it, doesn't mean it's bad.
Right. I'm not saying that it is, but I'm just
But-
saying I've never heard the guy talk, so I don't. And if he has, there's nothing
I
that
don't know,
really
man.
really remember. Because
man.
usually
Why does Kona Reeves even exist?
I don't
he
know.
got
They
he got
missed-
sucks.
job.
I've
He got
seen him
job.
wrestle. He sucks.
Yeah, you got squashed
He-
by Keith Lee this
He
week.
got,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Why is he getting TV time? Is
But
my
I
question.
mean, I don't know. I just feel like that was probably one of their biggest mistakes, as far as like, not even if he can't fucking speak, the guy was red hot. Like,
I actually
fucking
like. I
push him
look
for
at
a
his,
little
I
while.
look at his personality and the way that he's like. I find it very unlikely that he can't speak.
I'm telling you right now, he has a YouTube channel, and the guy can speak. Like, he's
Just
not.
with the personality and the. I find it very unlikely. I mean, there's certain, like he can probably speak better than fucking half the people on fucking Raw.
I just feel like it was something that like they weren't expecting the reaction that he got, and they didn't want to push him at the moment. So they changed his
understand
name
that
from
idea.
Bugenhagen to Rick Boogs, and
I never understood that idea.
I don't know, man. But
Because
it's
like
huge
anybody,
missed
anybody that's like out there saying, well, they didn't want to capitalize him at this moment. Well, what is the company's end goal?
making money.
Yeah. So why would they say that? Well, you're gonna make us a bit too much money. People are gonna like actually take to you. There's got to be something else.
Yeah.
It's because they didn't create the character, just like with Zack Ryder.
But his
that's
character was
fucking-
created.
Yeah,
That's all that
that-
it needed to
That
be.
that's fucking retarded at the
Yeah,
same time.
Well,
people saying that
that's-
about WWE is just fucking stupid. If it's gonna
'Cause
make them money,
you have WWE being like super fucking stingy off of shit they didn't create. On the other hand, you have WWE capitalizing on everything they can. I don't think Vince McMahon's type to be like, oh my god, we're not like he wouldn't have forgiven half the fucking people that he talks to
right?
if he was like, oh my god, money's involved and we could make it, but who is that? Who is that? Nah, we're gonna turn that down.
Because some of them don't want to sign over their lives. They want to sign their lives away, and then they
I don't know
can't
what you're
make
talking.
if they won't get
What do you
the
mean? What do you mean?
contracts.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Look at
But
the
he
Young
was
Bucks. Look at the Young Bucks.
okay, but that argument is null and void though, Trek, because he was already signed to WWE. So like any kind of gimmick or anything like that he had prior to that was signed over to WWE the minute he signed that contract.
Yes. And
I mean, I understand what you're saying, Trek. Like some people just decide that the contract's not for them. But with Bugenhagen, he was already signed, so that gimmick was WWE's gimmick.
and he's originally from Milwaukee. So.
He's just so fun, and the crowd fucking loved him. It's a huge missed opportunity.
Well, I still remember there was at the Worlds Collide thing, and he was outside jamming with Matt Riddle, and the crowd was loving it.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with Matt Riddle too, but whatever. I'm not going to sit here because I've never seen him wrestle, so I don't know. I seen him in the video, and it was on Twitter. I seen it on the timeline. That's how I knew that it happened. He started doing his headbanging thing that he always fucking does.
Yeah.
And then Dexter Lumis came out, and I don't know if he attacked him or if he just confronted him. I don't know if they're going to start using that. I don't. Who knows?
I mean, I hope so. I would like to see him back on TV. I don't care what they changed his name to. He's always going to be
Bugenhagen. Dexter Lumis. Yeah, that guy made a big time impression on me.
Bugenhagen.
When he showed up at that breakout tournament thing.
I don't
why
really
he
care.
didn't win it. Why he didn't win it, I don't know, but whatever.
Yep. I'll just be screaming Bugenhagen in the background.
Yeah,
As for the whole thing with Ciampa versus Gargano, if it is a loser leaves the NXT match, I think it's gonna be Gargano because they'll just bring him and Candice up to the main roster. If Ciampa was to lose, he ain't coming up to the main roster because he said he would rather retire.
But Trek, will they bring up Candice LeRae?
I could see it.
Why do you say that you can see it?
I could see it just because she's not. I'm sorry, Trek. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Trek.
You said the other night when we were talking about, not the other night, when the whole Sasha Banks tweeting out, should I stay on my bus or should I wrestle? And you said, well, she might as well wrestle because they need more bodies. I'm like, well, they need more bodies. You might as well bring her up.
And not only that, but there's no storylines going with Candice LeRae in NXT right now.
I think she's going to be infused in that storyline with Dakota Kai.
Yeah, she is.
It could be.
As far as
with Ciampa, Ciampa did say that he wants to stay in NXT.
Yeah, but ultimately it's not up to him.
It's not.
And I get what you're saying, and I understand what he said, and I understand but it's ultimately it's not up to these guys where they stay and where they go, or anything like that. That's up to the WWE. If WWE feels that they need to be up there because they're going to make them more money, they're going to be showcased on Raw and SmackDown.
And you do also have to remember that both of these guys were already called up. Yep. But Ciampa got hurt, so that then Johnny Gargano went back to NXT.
I could honestly see them putting them both on Raw and SmackDown and kind of separating them for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, ultimately at a WrestleMania, bring them together and have another match.
Yeah.
A match of all matches. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. Velveteen Dream. That match fell on its fucking face for me.
Yeah, that match was
fucking
pretty bad. So I'm gonna say
it was terrible. I just did not care what was going on inside the ring. What are they doing with it? Where is it going? And if somebody says it's going, well, a Velveteen Dream, okay, but then what are you doing with Gargano and Ciampa? you're just going to end up having a fatal 4-way at NXT Takeover.
I mean,
Tampa.
this whole match to me was a detriment to what happened in Portland.
Yep.
In my honest opinion, because okay, so Portland happens and it's like, oh my god, he's back or whatever, and then he just wins, and it's that, oh my god, the whole team attacks him. Okay, so then he goes on to face the champion of the team, I'm assuming, but here. The thing with me is Velveteen Dream is not there exactly where he needs to be in terms of world champion.
Not yet.
I can understand the storyline between Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream, because that's like kind of Roderick Strong.
Get him? It's so shoehorned.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
Roderick
you know what I
Strong
mean.
was the one that was that Velveteen Dream blames for him getting injured. So like that aspect of it makes sense. But in the same sense, they also took that storyline and instead of making it like a vengeance type thing, they just picked it back up right where it was when Velveteen Dream got hurt. Because like he was doing this whole thing about what's her name, Marina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was doing that whole thing when he got hurt. So like they just kind of pretended like this whole past like almost year didn't happen.
Yeah, this is where I looked at this feud and I'm like, this should last longer than what it's lasting. It became a feud that ended in less than a week,
Yep.
which makes no sense to me because if you're gonna come out there wearing fucking, and first of all, he wore his fucking family's face on his tights. Nobody knew who the fuck that was.
No, I
They
mean
had
I
to-
remember
they had
I
to
thought it was some
explain that
Spanish
shit.
singer.
First of all, they had to explain the most important thing that happened,
Yeah.
and then once it was explained and we all got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my god, they're gonna have a match, and then the match ends, and it's like, okay, well, fuck, I don't know. I think I'm 100. I'm not with this, man. I am not with this. It's just a bad way to produce the
Yeah,
match
and now it's
and
kind of
finish the match.
well, now it's kind of like you booked yourself into a corner because now what do you do with your championship? Because you've got Ciampa and Gargano, and then you've got Velveteen Dream, and you've also got Finn Balor who won his match at Takeover Portland. So what are you gonna do? Make it a fucking fatal 5-way? I mean,
they may make it a gauntlet match. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. And right now, it's kind of turning me off. It really
Yep,
is.
I agree with you 100% because NXT, if your champion Adam Cole is gonna lose, he's got to lose in one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be like this was the time, in my opinion, to take the title off him.
Yep.
Because if you're gonna take the title off him in the Fatal 4-Way, all you're doing is extending the fucking Undisputed Era, and this is the type of thing. Sorry, Gina. This is the type of thing I used to love with NXT, where it's like, oh, they're gonna take their time, they're gonna take time. But now it's like they're gonna take their time, they're gonna take their time. Oh, they took their time. Oh, they're gonna take their time. Oh, they're gonna take. Like, how long do we go until they
same with Shayna
fucking make
Baszler.
a decision?
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I can see happening is I think at their next takeover, which I think is what, Mania weekend.
Yeah. Tampa.
If you think about it, one of their most popular matches of all time was the ladder match for the North American Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling that it's going to be a ladder match for the
could be.
WWE NXT Championship.
But if again, like Basement said, if Adam Cole don't win it, you're still extending the Undisputed Era. No matter what,
agree.
it's got to be a one-on-one match.
And I mean, in my honest opinion, if it happens to be Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream, and Velveteen Dream wins, that is a worse outcome than having Ciampa win. Because Velveteen Dream is young as fuck. First of all, I have no idea how he's going to handle the championship properly. The guy's already been injured. I don't know. He's not the right one for me.
I have a question for you guys. Ryan Satin tweeted something out yesterday that I thought was actually really interesting.
Oh boy!
No,
ahead.
just listen. He
I suck dicks.
Shut up. He said that if it was him, he would have Kyle O'Reilly turn
No.
and go after Adam Cole.
He's-
Now, the reason why I ask you guys that is because if you remember in
Yes.
ROH and New
Yes.
Japan,
Mhm.
that was a fucking phenomenal
Okay.
match.
And that's exactly why Ryan sat and said what he said. And
Mhm.
WWE does not give two fucking shits what
But
happened.
the thing is, like, you gotta look at the
or
story
Japan.
building. You gotta look at the story building behind it and the characters involved.
But the thing is, Kyle O'Reilly, like, Basement, you and I have talked about this, and I think JP, you talked about it
I
with this
do
too.
agree with you.
Yeah, Kyle
but,
O'Reilly
why
has
would
the.
he, and who is he to do it? Is my question.
Well, but here's the only reason why I brought it up, because Bobby Fish is obviously he's getting up there. He's coming to the end of his career. So when
43.
Bobby Fish leaves, what are they gonna do with Kyle O'Reilly?
But is Bobby Fish leaving? That's the thing.
I mean, I don't think he's leaving right now. What I'm saying is he's getting towards the end of his career, not like, oh, he's gonna be done tomorrow. You know.
No,
So
I get
when
it.
I look at this tweet, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, who is Kyle O'Reilly to the actual wrestling audience? He's part of the Undisputed Era.
He's that guy that comes out and acts like a goof.
Yeah,
I love him.
but like,
Yeah.
there's in no world is he like, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Doesn't
I-
make any logical
and-
sense.
And
As somebody that's looking at WWE from like a fan's perspective,
Yeah.
instead of being like, okay, yeah, could he for sure, because he's a fucking beast in ring
Well,
and
and there's
everything. But
I mean, there's a huge difference between like, okay, like me, you, JP. We've all seen the match in New Japan.
I haven't seen
You
it.
know.
I haven't
Oh my
seen it.
God!
I haven't
Oh
seen
my
it.
God! You got to go
Calm
watch it. I think
down.
it's
Oh my
Wrestle
God.
Kingdom.
Jesus
10?
Christ. With
I wanna say?
everything that you tell me I need to watch, I would be watching wrestling for the next...
Bro, it's
You
good
gotta watch
wrestling.
that-
It's
you gotta
good
watch
shit.
man, like if
No,
we finish
it's
this
fine.
early,
I'll
if we
probably
finish
check
this
it.
early, you gotta watch that fucking slap match.
They had
fucking
the match I
Takahashi.
seen was in Ring of Honor. They wrestled in Ring of
Oh,
Honor.
okay, yeah, no, they wrestled for the title. I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 10 or 11. It
You
was
mentioned
like
that,
the very first match.
It's the same
But,
Wrestle Kingdom with AJ Styles and Shinsuke.
Yeah, it was Wrestle Kingdom 10. But anyways, like I said, that there's a difference between me, who has seen that match, going into it and saying, "Oh my God, I want to see that," because I've seen it before. Whereas a
Right.
regular wrestling fan who doesn't know New Japan, they're not gonna know.
Yeah, but he's no longer that character. All I'm saying is like you're like in the character.
Yeah, he's still the same
portrayed
character.
now. Yeah, but okay, well, it makes no sense.
Makes sense to me. Whatever.
It makes no sense, okay? Like someone's out there, it's like, you know that guy that's in the tag team that held the title and then lost it? I love him to turn on the champion and then fight each other. Who is he? Oh, he's that goofy guy that does the goofy
But you know what the
shit.
funny
What the
thing is, though, Basement? The funny thing is, you and I were talking about one of the Undisputed Era turning on Adam Cole, and you said the smartest one would be Kyle O'Reilly. So you said it before, too.
I said it was strong.
No, you did
It's
not.
probably me that said Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh,
I said
okay,
it's
maybe.
strong to turn him at Adam Cole because he
So
lost
you
the
would
title.
rather see Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole.
I could be
Their
either one.
core innovation, it doesn't really matter because they're all like fucking subordinates to him. At this point in time, it's like, would you rather see employee A, B, or C fight the boss? Like, I mean, it's just like, in my honest opinion, like, I think he's great, and I'd love to see him just let loose and fight him. I just don't feel like that's gonna happen. And I felt like my original thought was that the tag team titles would be lost, and then the North American Championship would be lost, and then it would just be Adam Cole holding the title and be like, well, fuck you guys, because I still got what I want, and they'd turn on him as a unit. But, you know, that's not happening, I guess. So I can't, like, fantasy book for Kyle O'Reilly being a different wrestler persona fighting Adam. It's a bit too much. I mean, I'd love to see him fight because I think Kyle O'Reilly's a hidden gem and everybody knows, I think. But
he can go. He can go in the ring. He's a former Ring of Honor World Champion. So.
He's
great.
really good.
He beat Adam Cole for the title. Well, I'm not gonna sit here and say that he can't do it. It's just I think the way he's booked in WWE is just not believable.
I feel like a huge departure for his character.
Yeah, it is. Because in Ring of Honor, he was booked as just a fucking wrestling beast.
Bobby, you think
Machine.
Roger Strong? Fuck you guys. Champion.
Yeah, but I don't buy Roderick Strong as a champion. I'm sorry, I don't.
I
don't
think he may. He's
champion
probably
either.
going to be the one that does with Adam Cole because.
Well, I mean, in the long run, it would make the most sense just because he was the last one to get brought in.
I mean, I really like Roderick Strong. And
I
I,
think
li-
Roderick
it's-
Strong
I like
could-
him.
I thought they were going to pull the trigger on him with Bobby Roode at one point.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I like Roderick Strong. It's not that. I think he's a good wrestler.
That's when
It's
I.
just-
That's when I actually started watching.
I actually think, like, if I had to look at the three of them, I think Adam Cole's the worst of the three in ring.
I disagree. I think he's
yeah,
the
I
best.
disagree too. Like, Roderick Strong is probably the worst.
Who's Adam? Really?
Yeah. Out of
Adam
Kyle
Cole's
O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and Roderick Strong, yeah, Roderick Strong's
Oh,
gonna come up on
man,
the
Roderick
weekend.
Strong is like, okay, so you can't
Roderick Strong's.
like
Go ahead.
no, you can't like fucking Zack Sabre Jr. and not like Roderick Strong.
No, I'm not saying I don't like Roderick Strong. I'm just saying that, like, in the three of them, I think Roderick Strong is the weakest link. It's not that
Oh
he's
no,
not a
I
good
Kyle
wrestler.
O'Reilly to me is.
No.
Yes.
No. I think Adam Cole.
We're all disagreeing. Fucking Chuck
I mean,
Bobbitt.
the thing is, I'm not talking about like what we've seen so far. I'm just talking about like what could potentially be. I love Roderick Strong because all of his offense is focused on his finishing move, and that's something that very rarely happens. I don't like Adam Cole so much because I feel like he is an amalgamation of moves that are just not focused on anything. He does a bunch of super kicks and like he's very WWE. The guy is 100%
He's
WWE.
very, very early Shawn Michaels.
Like
No,
worse.
he's very, very
Yeah,
towards the end of
he's-
Shawn Michaels' career. Shawn Michaels.
yeah, he
Yeah.
is. It's like Shawn Michaels way better than him in my
I
opinion.
think,
But
as Adam
Ronnie's
Cole
gonna
in
kill
Ring
you.
of Honor he was another just beast in the ring. He could wrestle. He can wrestle. He can focus. He can do his. He's got submission holds. I've seen him do them. It's just he don't use them.
the problem is too like his build
Mhm.
and his size. Because he's not a big guy, he's got a giant fucking head. Kyle O'Reilly reminds me a little.
He has
Yeah,
no
just
ass.
watch-
Like, Ronnie
Just
fucking
watch. The
scarred
guy's
me.
fucking gigantic.
No.
head.
Ronnie fucking scarred me with that fucking thong picture. Like, he has no ass.
Kyle O'Reilly kind of reminds me of Randy Orton, the way he moves.
Yeah.
So I think the highest upside is probably in Kyle O'Reilly, but fucking Adam Cole is just definitely not on top of my list. I like Roderick Strong. It's just like his wrestling makes sense.
Don't let it go.
No,
It's
it's
right.
just like Roderick Strong. Fucking
His
Roderick
wrestling
Strong.
makes sense. It's like the same argument you have for fucking Zack Sabre Jr. I have for Roderick Strong.
But
I'd
you have
rather-
the same
Speaking of that, I
argument
have
for
some-
Zack Sabre.
But I'd rather see Roderick Strong than Zack Sabre Jr.
I have some Zack Sabre Jr. news.
What's
Yeah.
that?
He died of cholera in the jungles.
No.
What?
The most ratings for Rev Pro came out today.
Okay, we will talk.
Oh, yeah. I've been waiting for that one.
Oh my god. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So moving on. Anything
No,
else?
really. What was it, Bobbitt?
Okay, oh my god.
I'm
Okay.
interested.
Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. got 5 stars.
Okay, good
And I
for him.
believe it. You want to know why?
Oh
Because
my
I saw the match in New Japan when they fucking did it before Rev Pro. It was good.
I wish it was Will Ospreay versus fucking
Will Ospreay won the title. You guys know that, right?
Roderick Strong. That's all I'm saying.
I'll be right back. You and your fucking Roger.
Let me see. We did the Velveteen Dream. Do you guys think Velveteen Dream had gone too far with the fucking? I mean, they kind of fucking played it
Obviously
down,
not.
but do you think
No.
he went too far
No.
with the tights,
No.
Gina?
Gina said she was going to be right back after she watched a bunch of
Is that
Roderick Strong matches.
No, he didn't go too far because if he went too far, then Rick Rude went too far, and it's just good heat.
I actually felt like it was like a soft dick.
Yeah, I don't. It didn't bother me one bit.
That whole
None of it
thing with
bothered
like,
me.
oh my god, it's your face on his tights. I was like,
In
okay,
fact,
that's
if you
kind
want me to be
of,
honest with you,
yeah.
that whole fucking thing fell flat on its face.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. It was a fucking
No, but I don't care.
softest dick I've ever seen.
Man, I don't care. I could give a shit about fucking right now. Velveteen Dream is dead to me.
Yeah, it was a bad debut for him, and I feel like they followed up with the worst thing possible.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, oh my god, he's back! Oh my god, he's doing a terrible match and wins.
Right. All right. Let me see
That's
what's.
strong president.
Yep. I don't know why you just don't let it go. We're moving. We're moving on from Roger. I have no more.
Might be, but.
Let me see. Let's get into the quick news, and then we'll get into Takeover. Let's see. Shayna Baszler. Y'all know she said shit on fucking live national fucking TV, and people were. A guy actually tweeted at her and said, "I wish you wouldn't have said that. My kid was watching." And Shayna responded, which is what she should respond with. That's not my decision, and I'm not going to change just to suit you. I am who I am, and I don't care. And I actually like what she said. And I agree with her. What?
I just came back. Who?
Shayna Baszler.
Oh.
She said shit on national TV.
Oh, yeah. I heard.
Which was, to be honest with you, I don't want to see Shayna Baszler fucking and Becky Lynch, because it's going to look like Molasses is wrestling somebody that fucking licks her lips 15,000 times in a fucking match. Because that's all I see. I just, I don't know, man. But Shayna Baszler, I did like her response to the person on Twitter that said, "I wish you wouldn't have said shit on TV because my kid was watching."
Oh my god!
Like,
get the fuck out of here!
You know what's fucked up
kids
about
are gonna see that same kid's probably watching porn. Sorry, basement.
What's fucked up about this whole fucking conversation is, the person that like actually said it, I clicked on them, and then I saw their banner, and it's a bunch of fucking like 20-year-olds, and their parents are, how could they hear this? They're like 17. Meanwhile, the brother's fucking ass blasting the sister. It's like, what shit was said? What the fuck? It's fucking ridiculous, man. This fucking guy needs to be like shot out of a cannon into the sun.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. If you watch any TV show these days, every single one of them is saying words like shit, bitch, damn. They're all saying it. And not only that, but you're seeing like softcore porn on network TV nowadays. Yeah, so like shit is the last thing that you have to be worrying about. Because if you have a 6-year-old kid out there, I'm pretty sure that at some point in time watching fucking Fox, they've seen softcore porn.
Well, I would say the kid was not 6 years old. She was at least 16. The son is probably about 17. And the father is probably about retarded.
Well, considering that when that show Hannibal used to be on, I mean, it was like 8 o'clock in the evening, and they used to show graphic shit like Hannibal killing and eating people. So the fact that the guy's losing his shit over the fact she said shit, maybe he should get over it.
I feel like he might need to think about the noises his wife makes while he's plowing her, and his fucking 17-year-old daughter's like, "What's that? Oh, fuck! I'm almost there. Fuck! Like you know they've heard worse. Is all I'm saying.
Bobbit, what do you got to say?
Oh, about the retarded dad?
Yeah, sure.
Well, you know, this is the same people that was bitching about worse shit in the 90s. So it's going to happen regardless.
Oh boy, Alpha. Darren fucking T. If Becky would have said it, every single one of those fans with kids would have turned a blind eye to it. Maybe maybe not.
Dude, you've got to stop with your Becky hate.
You do have to stop with Becky Lynch, though. I get it, man. I'm with you. But wow. Now I'm not criticizing you because I say it every time. Becky Lynch can straight fuck off.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. But like, man.
Sheamus wanted to bring back his original entrance.
Yep.
Yeah.
WWE said no because they aren't going to remember. People aren't going to remember it, which I kind of agree with because that was
this is dumb.
years ago. And the fans, a lot of the fans that are watching WWE now, are new.
Sheamus
viewers.
disappeared for a year and came back.
It's
I'm
the
gonna
same
bring back.
person.
I'm gonna bring back my initial persona. Can I get my initial music? It's like nobody's gonna give a fucking shit about you, man. Off in the corner. Oh yeah, do me hard.
But this is the only. What the fuck? I feel like Basement just wants to like make sex noises right now. But the only thing that I have a problem with this is just like. This is WWE as a whole because it seems like they think that we just forget about everything.
Yes.
You know, it's like the Ciampa and the Gargano thing. It's like they think that we forgot.
Mm-hmm.
They've wrestled how many times? Or the Velveteen Dream thing. Like I said, they pretended like this whole past year just didn't happen. We forgot about it, you know?
As soon as Survivor Series hit, and as soon as fucking NXT got their own show, they have been on a constant slow decline for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Wrestling in
JP,
general has been on a slow decline for me. But go ahead, Trek.
JP, you had a good theory about why you really thought it was.
Well, what the fuck are you talking about? Sorry. What?
Why you really thought they wouldn't let them bring it back because of who composed it?
Oh, CFO? I'll get to that.
No, Jim Johnston.
Oh, Jim Johnston composed it, but that's not why. The WWE said that people are going to forget about it, which I believe. People aren't going to remember that. I don't remember his music. I mean, they might like it. You never know. It's just WWE has this mindset, well, people aren't going to remember it, or people aren't going to like it or remember it, so why do it? That's why they did. That's their thinking. And I get it, but I think they're dumb. Because it would have been something different. It might have been something fresh.
Yeah, I mean, even if people didn't remember it, it would have been something fresh.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't pimp that shit out on iTunes and on their YouTube channel anyway.
Oh, here we go. Trek mad at somebody for fucking doing something.
All I'm saying is that every time they get a chance to, they put it up on YouTube and iTunes. Say, go here and you can hear this. It's like they do that all the time anyway. So it's not like they wouldn't take the chance to do it anyway.
Yeah, marketing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Kill anybody that doesn't have blonde hair.
I don't know if we actually talked about this, but Brandy Rhodes said that I don't know if this is the reason that she quit the Nightmare Collective because she didn't want to become the focal point of the women's division.
No, that's not all of it.
That's part of it, though. Yeah,
it was part of it. She released a statement on Twitter a while back, like right after the Nightmare.
I fucked up.
Ended. No, basically what she said, and I kind of touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the show when we were talking about like how Awesome Kong wanted to be the one to like cut the hair and stuff. It all kind of started going awry, and it wasn't what she thought, like what she was envisioning it to be. And
Are
the
you
fans
talking about
were
the
not.
Nightmare Collective or the women's division?
I'm talking about the Nightmare Collective.
Okay, well the question was,
she fucked up.
She didn't want to become the focal point of the women's division.
Correct.
And that's what I'm getting at. Like the Nightmare Collective was starting to become. She felt like it was starting to take over and overshadow everything that was going on in the women's division, and she didn't want that to happen. So between that,
she's fucked up.
Between that and the fact that the fans were not getting behind it and things were not panning out, she took a step back and she decided to kill it. I
yeah.
respect
So
her
now
for
she's involved.
because
Now she's still a focal point because now she's involved in the Cody Rhodes thing.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I'm
okay with that. That's
that
not
because
women's
that's where
division,
she's
but
always been.
I'm
You know,
gonna
she's
say,
always been at Cody's side.
like, she seemed to use a lot of words to say she fucked because
Pretty
okay,
much.
like, I mean, bottom line is like that whole thing was fucked up to begin with. It's like, well, I didn't anticipate her using fucking hair. It's like, okay, well, don't let her use hair.
Well,
No, we
no,
think we're gonna let her use hair. She wants to use hair. She wants to do
That
this.
that wasn't what happened. Awesome Kong, like they had this. Brandy said that they had this really good storyline for like the hair thing, but then
Yeah, I'm sure.
But then Awesome Kong got injured, and then when she
No,
came
she didn't
back,
get injured though.
she did. What she
But
got
when?
injured. She got injured earlier this year.
She did get hurt, and she is
Yeah,
still hurt.
and she got hurt earlier this year, and now she's
Kind of seems like
re-injured
maybe
again.
you shouldn't like put a crux on 50-year-old talent. But anyway. I mean, okay, so maybe she got hurt, but in the end she didn't get hurt. She had to go do some other shit.
But no, she is hurt.
She is hurt right
She
now.
got hurt. She is hurt.
Oh, okay, so maybe you shouldn't put what the fuck, man? She's like ancient as fuck. Why are you putting not ancient, but she's like
No,
old
like
in
the
wrestling terms.
storyline-
Plus, she's like a big girl. I don't know.
They were writing
No,
her off
the
the
storyline-
TV. They
The
were
storyline
writing.
with, I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna say they were writing her off TV.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to. That's what they were doing, but she actually got hurt in the process.
Yeah.
of
So it's like
being
me
written
creating a fucking cult around Kane.
Well,
Yes.
the
Today.
whole hair, the
Yeah.
whole
Does that make
hair cutting
sense?
thing, the whole hair cutting thing was supposed, like the storyline was supposed to play out to where like cutting the hair was supposed to be like your way into like this Nightmare Collective cult type thing. And that was where the storyline was supposed to go. But then she got hurt the first time. So then they had to kind of put it on hold for a second. So then they stopped cutting hair for a while. Well, then she came back and they cut hair again. And then she got injured again. So then they fucking put it on hold and then she just killed it.
Well, they pretty much killed it because Awesome Kong had to go away and do glow.
She couldn't
Yeah.
get hair to.
But I mean,
But-
you know what? One thing I will say is I respect the hell out of Brandy Rhodes for realizing that it wasn't working and actually killing it. She didn't try to beat the dead horse or anything like that. She followed her pride and she killed it.
She kind of started off with the dead horse. I agree with you. I think it's the right move. Like like to kill it is a strong decision for her. But like, I mean, why would you focal point with Awesome Kong? It's like, oh my god, man! It's like
Because if you
Vader.
remember- No.
My doctor
Jason-
says it has 1 year to live.
If you remember where the storyline kicked off, Brandy was dressed as like this like fucking voodoo princess or something like that, and Awesome Kong was supposed to be like her stronghold in like this like voodoo Santria type thing or Sangria.
Why couldn't it be Nala Rose?
I mean, it could have been.
Man, I mean, they shackled themselves to fucking some ancient Gigantosaurus, and
Well, I think it was out of respect because like Awesome Kong was somebody that
company out of respect. I'm sorry,
but Awesome Kong was somebody that Brandy grew up looking up to. So I think that that's like it was like her role model, and that's why she wanted to work with her.
That's fine.
Start a company.
I just the women's division. Brandy Rhodes was becoming the
The
focal point.
women's division
It was the
sucks.
tag team match where she realized that she was becoming the focal point of the women's division. That's what she said.
Yeah,
And
Just like a lot of hate on it.
yeah,
and
my
that's the
opinion. And
isn't-
that's like it's like
isn't that the same tag team match that Awesome Kong ended up getting hurt in?
no, that was on that. What,
I mean,
what's
I'm
what's
glad
her
they
fucking
ended
nuts
on
his
the-
fucking debut. Awesome Kong wasn't there.
The
Oh,
women's
okay.
division on AEW has a far way to go. They do have some solid talent, but they need to
They're
add to
getting
that.
better. They're
Yeah.
at least they're showcasing the wrestling, the ones that can actually wrestle in the ring now instead of the ones that are still really green.
They still
Like, these-
have that fucking dentist motherfucker trying to
Yeah,
cut fucking
but she also
promos.
hasn't been in the ring as of lately very much.
She's
She's on the
one of
mic.
my favorite. I don't know what you guys are on about. She's like the next
Dinosaur. Next Goldberg? Is that
My do you want to know what my real problem with Britt Baker is? And then I understand and this is on AEW and her at the same time. She'll shit all over fucking JR for saying that he's a dentist, and then she'll continually talk about her being a dentist.
But I think that that's part of her
But it's
gimmick because
it's
she's like she's just like bitch, but yet she's a really shallow bitch.
But
so like she's
stupid
really
bitch.
self-centered. So like she has to be the one to announce her accolades. If that makes sense.
I feel like she might be too good for AEW.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I hope she wins an Oscar next year
I hate you.
for extracting teeth.
Oh my god, she's terrible. I don't care
Right.
what anybody fucking
You know
says.
what? Like
Don't
she's doing something that is, and like forgive me for anybody that's going to think otherwise. She's doing something that is extremely easy in wrestling to do. Be terrible, but have people hate you. And I mean, it sounds very obvious when I say it, but I mean, this exists in WWE all the time. It
Yeah,
exists
you're
in
right.
AEW. She is not good in ring. It's easy to get people hate to hate you. You just need to go out there and be like, flat Earth, and I love fucking gigantic fat midgets. And it's like you insulted the whole fucking world with that. Plus, I will do your teeth, but you will have to pay me $17.68. Like, I mean, it's not that difficult to make people angry. It's one of the easiest things known to mankind. But you have to pay it off with being good in the ring.
Oh my god. Don't ever fucking make me laugh like that again when I'm drinking, you fuck. 1768.
All I'm saying is it's not that difficult to be a complete asshole. All of us can do it in an instant. But it's hard to pay it off if all you're gonna say is, I could fix your molars. You're disgusting. Your mouth looks like I jizzed upon it. She's a woman.
Where did you come up with those numbers?
It's
1768.
and that's just for the first hour. It goes up
Oh
every
my
hour
God.
on the hour.
That's the first fucking that's just the constitution, okay?
Oh,
It
it's
starts
just,
1868. The next is 1874. 1874.
Oh my god.
okay. So moving on to the next thing.
Right.
Sorry.
We're almost done with this. The Funkadactyls. Remember those? Remember them?
Yeah.
Cameron and Naomi. They're
Yeah.
possibly
That's big
having a
black
reunion. Now, the reason that I bring this up is everybody doesn't want to fucking see it. Everybody
Well, and-
thinks everybody thinks it's going to be a fucking match at WrestleMania.
Well,
And it may very well be.
Weren't those two didn't they have major heat backstage, like amongst each other?
But no, Cameron did. She was terrible. She's worse than Lana in the ring.
No, I mean with each other. Like they hated each other, from what I understood.
No, they didn't hate each other. It had to do with Cameron. They had a feud. They were having a feud, though. I know that much. I don't know if it was real heat, but everybody's like with Tyrus. That's his real name.
Brodus Clay.
Brodus Clay.
What his name is?
Look, I don't mind it. It's whatever. It's
I don't
a
even know what
reunion.
we're talking about, to be honest.
It's just something that came up. Everybody
Isn't-
was losing their shit that it was going to take a spot away from somebody at WrestleMania that deserved it. But
Not really.
Yeah, no, that's
Naomi-
what I agree.
Naomi deserves it. I mean, it wouldn't be taking a spot. I mean, yeah,
Does
Naomi could be.
Naomi
Who the hell-
actually deserve it because she's been absent for fucking 18 years?
I honestly don't think Naomi's getting a title shot at WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see that.
I don't think.
Who do you think it's going to be? Lacey Evans again?
No,
I think Sasha,
I think
but
Sasha
it depends on if
Banks.
she's hurt or
I think
not.
Sasha's
Oh,
coming
fuck
back.
that! I hope not.
Well, deal with it.
So then she's gonna take 18 pictures.
She's
Before
got
she
to
goes
stay on
out.
her. She asked if she should stay on her bus or come and wrestle for once.
Oh my God, Trek, you say that all the time.
I wish she would just run in traffic and see what happens.
Jesus
But
Christ.
there-
Not Baby Yoda either.
But here's the thing: people don't mind seeing the Undertaker and other
AJ
wrestlers like that
Styles.
taking a spot. But when it doesn't fit their fucking agenda, that's where I have a fucking problem. That's why I always
Wait.
say, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. I have
I
no
mean-
problems with it. I have no problems with it. And it may not. Naomi may get that shot at WrestleMania, and I don't mind them two
My
being
question
there
is
for it.
like, would you rather see the Undertaker or Disco Inferno?
I get you. That's not what I'm saying, Basement. What I'm saying
That's what you
is,
said, though.
oh, I don't mind seeing either one. It's if you're gonna see the Undertaker this here, it's not the same lines, but why are people bitching about it? The Undertaker's still taking a spot from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
That's
it's the
my
Undertaker or it's Disco Inferno. It's like
I
the Undertaker
get what
versus Brock Lesnar, or it could be fucking Disco Inferno or
Yes, Basement.
Santino Marella.
No, I get what you're
See,
saying.
like, I still respect the hell out of the Undertaker. I feel like he would be more suited right now as a host.
Well, I feel like the Undertaker's time has come and gone. I mean, at this point in time, I don't want to see the Undertaker either. But like, I don't know what the whole conversation about the Funkadactyls was and why I would never. I didn't want to see them when they existed. So.
Oh boy, somebody's wide awake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
I think
apparently
I'm laughing.
Tyrus should not be brought back in because he's getting a little bit of hot water for sexually harassing someone via tweet. So
That
he
you
may
know what?
come back.
And I looked that up, and that is a
Who?
non-factor.
I have no
Who?
idea. What you're
That's
talking
not
about.
happening. That's not what's going on.
Okay, but who?
Tyrus,
Hey,
Brodus Clay.
Oh, Brodus Clay. Okay.
Nothing's happening out of that.
All right, let's move on from wherever we're
Yes.
talking.
Yeah,
So
thank God.
yeah, I was gonna say that too. Nothing's happening out of that. All you gotta do is look it up online. CFO, Trek brought it up. They're not working with WWE anymore. But it's
They
not
were
for-
never. They haven't been for a while.
Well, yeah, well, right. But WWE was going to buy out their contract, but the company that CFO works for, they were subcontracted, I guess you could say, wouldn't allow it.
Okay.
So
I'm going to say right now a huge mistake for
CFO did
WWE.
not want to stop, but the company that CFO was actually contracted to didn't want them working with WWE anymore for some reason.
I
and
mean,
they
this has
couldn't-
been
they
like a
couldn't get out of
year
it.
almost
Yeah.
removed at this point in time.
Well, that's
But
Jim
I would
Johnson.
say like it's a huge mistake for WWE just to give up them.
They had to
because-
though. They were forced to. It's not. They didn't want to. They had to. That was the thing.
So,
they had to
here's-
give them up. Go ahead.
Here's my question. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about this, but MLW was reportedly suing WWE for
We
poaching.
talked about that
talent?
last. We talked about that.
Well,
last week.
fuck, I wasn't here last week.
Yeah, Gina. God
I
damn.
fell asleep. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, we talked about that last week.
Oh, okay. Like I didn't know if you guys had.
Have you heard about
better-
CFO,
Anyway.
which we heard about 17
Yeah, and it
years
has nothing to do with Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Well, no,
What?
I was just
Why would
the only reason why I was going to
No,
bring
but
it up is because
that
like
was what the speculation was, is why he was on the bump, because he works for MLW.
yeah. Well, the only reason why I brought it up was because like I had actually heard that New Japan was in the process of doing the same thing with WWE because
Also-
apparently WWE's been trying to poach their talent as well,
I mean,
which they've
let's
been
be
doing for
real.
years. But
Let's be real. Davey Boy Jr. looks like a fucking prostitute.
He looks like
Guy shows
I
up
mean,
with like
on
an
that god awful
18-pound
show
chain. He's like, here I am in my honest
in his
God
fucking simp
humble
shoes.
appearance. Like that guy is
Simp
fucking looked like
shoes.
a fucking complete vagina.
Yeah, I agree. But anyways,
Yep.
Anyway.
Samoa Joe is hurt.
Yeah,
No
surprise,
way.
got
surprise.
hurt during a commercial, I guess. And I don't know how significant the injury is, but I don't know how long he's going to be out for. But that's why he wasn't at Monday Night Raw.
I ran into a door.
Dun,
Fuck,
dun.
concussion.
Dun, dun. I woke up, concussion.
With that concussion.
I had a bad dream, concussion. Dun, 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 dun.
I honestly think that it's come to the point. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Samoa Joe. I do, but I think it's come to the point in his career where he's better suited for commentary.
I think he came back too fast from his original concussion. He's like, it doesn't affect me. I'm all good.
Yeah.
Where
That
am
could
I?
be.
How did I get
That
here?
could be. That could be.
That and like he's not being utilized as a wrestler anyway, so like I mean
Yeah.
I feel like he's better suited as commentary because he was amazing in commentary.
Mhm.
Kind of reminds me of Taz on commentary.
Yeah, exactly.
He could be.
Dun, dun, dun.
Anybody else got anything they want to add on about Samoa? Good talk.
And everybody does it. It fucking explodes in the mud. I feel that too.
Oh
Deep
my
inside
God.
myself.
Oh man,
All right. So, and
this fucking sucks.
what,
What,
Bobby?
Bobby?
What?
Kyrie Sane just got married. Fuck.
Jesus.
But to who or what?
You'll be all
It
right.
ain't me, so I
Oh,
don't care.
and you might as well just forget about Kyrie Sane and the pirate thing because she
Remember
doesn't do
she
the
was
pirate gimmick
injured?
anymore.
Yeah, she was injured by fucking.
No,
Dick.
she needs to get shot out of a fucking cannon at WrestleMania.
It's not
otherwise I'm
happening.
not watching.
She
I
doesn't.
agree.
She doesn't get shot out of a
is
cannon
not
into a wall, die
She
immediately.
is
I'm not gonna
not
be
a
happy.
pirate anymore.
This is bullshit, man. They're just like she needs to be shot out of a fucking cannon,
It's not
and
happening.
it needs to happen.
No.
Into a wall.
She is not.
Literally.
The pirate gimmick is no more. When have you
Shoot her
seen
out of
her?
a cannon into a wall, let her broken body
Oh my
collapse.
God, Jesus Christ!
I'm just saying what I need, okay?
But the pirate gimmick is no more.
Yeah,
When
she's
is
married now.
she dressed like a pirate last?
Well, I mean, I can see that, but if they're gonna have Asuka run for the
The last time she parlayed,
Raw Women's Championship, then like, what the hell are they gonna do with Kyrie Sane? Like,
They're
what's her
not
character
doing
gonna
anything with either of them.
be? No,
yeah.
at
We're gonna see some
WrestleMania,
both
I
of
heard
them.
it was supposed to be Asuka versus Becky.
No.
Becky's gonna
shit.
end up taking on Shayna. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it.
Well, and I suppose they
but-
would have had to drop those tag titles too before, because tag titles are going to be defended on pre-show.
They're paperweights. They don't give a shit. They probably even forgot they existed again.
They're
No.
gonna be in the battle royal.
They're gonna face that dwarf kid.
Oh my God, basement!
Good.
Jesus.
So one of the final things that I have, Vicky Guerrero came out and said that she probably will never ever be able to have WWE superstars on her podcast again because she was on AEW. I'm
Alright,
going
well,
to
then I'll skip
literally
it.
call bullshit. You're fucking
I'm not
wrong.
going to call bullshit.
I'm gonna call bullshit because I'm gonna call bullshit. Because if that's the case, then fucking why does Chris Jericho have fucking people on his show?
Because he's Chris fucking Jericho.
Okay, so what's the fucking difference?
Not only that, she had a WWE superstar on her show after she
Yeah.
did the podcast.
Her
Also, I mean,
saying
my
that?
question is,
Yeah.
why
Also,
would
who
you want to
cares?
be on her show?
I mean, her show apparently is
Apparently, it's a pretty
big
good
show.
No,
Yeah.
it's great. It's 100% great.
That's
Excuse
She
me.
doesn't talk like that on
That's
it. Basement. That was her
fair.
character on WWE.
I
Jesus.
just feel like she probably says that when like somebody says something at her turn.
No,
I
probably
That's what I
No,
would
I
do.
don't, I don't know. Anyway, I don't buy it because it's just really.
What's her podcast
I don't
called?
think WWE
Is it
is
called
so
Excuse
fickle
Me?
to fucking do that shit.
It is called Excuse Me.
I knew it! Fuck you, Gina. Fuck you all. Well, she would never say excuse me. What's the podcast called? It's kind of called Excuse Me. Fuck you guys, man.
I
It's
didn't know what it was
Excuse
called.
Me.
I
She
just said her
doesn't say
podcast.
Excuse me. all
You
the time.
know she says excuse me at times.
She probably
I don't know.
does when the show first started.
I've never listened to the
Yeah.
show, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
me
But you
neither.
know she does.
Me neither.
She's like, you know
And
she
we
does.
kind of talked about this earlier. AEW has a takedown notice for video clips. So if you are a big YouTuber and you have AEW clips and you show them, they will write you a letter for cease and desist.
Excuse?
So
I mean,
don't
which
put up
is to be
AEW
expected.
content.
I mean, people really can't get all up in arms about that because, I mean,
Yeah.
it's copyright law. Bottom
Yeah,
line,
but
it's
it's not.
copyright law.
The problem is like this. It's not just AEW. It's every fucking thing out there.
I mean,
And
tell me about it. I
copyright-
just got a copyright the other day from fucking Twitter.
Yeah, copyright on Twitter.
It was from
Well,
that Twitter karaoke stuff, and like, yeah, I got a copyright, and then they said that if they saw any more videos, that I was going to get banned permanently from Twitter. So if I disappear, then I deleted all the videos. But if I disappear, then you guys know where I went.
It's one of those excuse me things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, am I getting eliminated from Twitter? Fuck, I said a lot of stupid shit.
Here's what I don't understand though.
What?
If I was to show my vagina or my bobs,
Vagina.
oh, that's
She
okay.
said-
That's
she
okay.
said
But if,
vagina. What
but
the
if
fuck
I
is a
fucking-
vagina?
but God forbid if I'm
Singular.
singing along to a fucking song.
Yeah, exactly. But if you sing along to a song, just showing vagina, it's all good.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is that dwarf kid.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Dwarf kid, solid. They're trying to get him to WrestleMania 36.
Yeah, I heard that.
I just, you know what? I
They're trying to
didn't.
get WrestleMania. He might be real. It might be real, but he
I
might
don't
also.
know if it's real or
74.
I'm
not.
gonna say
Well-
this. I'm gonna say this about it, and this is all I'm gonna say about it. Well, I'll probably say a couple more
That
things.
you love dwarfs, first
I
of all.
hate fucking midgets. All right. Hate
Yeah, I'm gonna
fucking
start
midgets.
this.
All right.
We're gonna talk
Hold
about a
on.
midget. I'm
Hold
gonna
on.
start
That's
this-
not what I wanted to say. That
Midgets.
was something I was gonna say that I wasn't planning on saying. But bullying, okay? I don't. Bullying is
Like-
wrong. Okay, bullying is wrong. My issue is with this whole thing, and I even if somebody posts something on anybody, I don't care who it is, and they post something on Twitter, unless I know this person and I have good faith that that is what they are doing for a good reason, throws up a red flag for me right away, like posting it on social media. I mean, I would if Wendy was being bullied, I would never put that on social media ever.
Here's the thing. And I talked to you guys about it yesterday too, and I think we were all kind of in agreement. There was 3 huge red flags that I saw immediately in that video. And the first
First
one,
of all, it was a midget.
no, the first one was he points at his mom and he says, "You do it too. You call me the biggest, the dumbest kid in class." And then he says, or she starts talking about kids killing themselves, and then he starts talking about wanting to die.
Yeah, she's goated. She's coaching.
Coaching him, right? And then why the fuck is she recording this video when her son is supposedly just crying like this? Like, why is she not consoling her son? Like,
Then he starts
Huge
taking
red
money
flag.
pictures, and he's
Huge
wearing
red
Gucci
flags.
in front of a Mercedes, and all of a sudden, I don't think he's 9 years old, showing flexing videos by himself. I honestly think if I saw this child, I don't give a fuck if it's a child or not.
oh my god, basement, stop.
Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop right there.
But I'm also hearing this whole thing that no, he's really 18 or he's really 9. He's not 18. But then we're seeing these photos of this kid that looks like him is
like,
actually
he
18.
could be fucking
It throws
2
up
years
another
old.
red.
With
It throws up.
75.
Yeah.
It throws up another red flag. I'm like, so he has an identical twin that's 9 years old. I don't fucking what? That's
only
stupid.
the only way that I can ever see like putting anything about your kid being bullied on social media is if you have already done everything in your absolute power to like take care of it, you know, with the school or whatever. But even still, like, there is no way, if my kid was crying the way that kid was crying in that video, there is no way that I'm going to be holding a phone up
No, I agree.
and
Mhm.
recording instead of fucking consoling my child.
Mhm.
There's that's just not going to happen. Only a fucking shit parent or somebody who is looking for clout is gonna fucking do that.
I can agree. Or it
No,
throws up a
this is
red
gonna
flag that this
backfire
might be
so bad
possibly
on them.
clout chasing.
Well, you know, the thing is, and it pisses me off so fucking badly because there are kids out there that are dealing with bullying every single day, and
I
they're
agree.
suffering and they're suicidal and they're fucking killing themselves at ages 7, 8, 9, 12, you know, whatever.
I mean, this whole thing made me want to punch a fucking midget. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god.
Like it had the opposite effect. I was like, oh
It
my
just-
god, I was with the kid for so long, but then I saw this guy's like, money, money, money. You gotta hustle. Oh yeah,
It's
Mercedes
just
Benz, Gucci. Like,
infuriating.
oh my god, the I would punch a kid.
It's absolutely infuriating because you know that this is actually a real problem that
Yeah,
needs
it
to
was-
be addressed, and
They
people
did the
like
opposite.
this are fucked.
This is why I said it was Jussie Smollett, because they did they
Yeah.
actually used the actual thing to do the opposite for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope, I get you.
This kid needs to be fucking hung.
Prosecuted. If you ask me, him and his mother or whoever took that video, if it comes out to be wrong, they need to be prosecuted for fraud because all of that money was raised in order to bring them to Disneyland or fucking WrestleMania or wherever. That's fraudulent.
Well,
They
the
need-
guy
they need to-
the guy that actually started the fundraiser said not all of it was going to them.
Yeah,
Only part of it.
the
I don't know,
Disney.
fuck that
It was
shit. None
supposed
of it
to.
should go to them.
No,
It
I
was
agree.
supposed to go to pay for Disneyland, and then like all of their hotel and like all expense paid trip to Disneyland basically, and then
I'm
the rest of
sorry,
it was
but-
going to go to the anti-bully thing.
That tweet where someone said, like, why are they sending this kid to Disneyland? He's not tall enough to
Shut
ride.
up.
Right, you're right. It is what it is.
I don't know. I
It's
hope
a
he
small
gets
world.
reverse
Everybody
birth.
can fit in. It's a small world.
I hope they actually take him and put him back in his mother.
God.
Okay.
Jesus.
Well, that being said, let's get to Takeover, and we'll hit each
I got
match,
the Meltzers.
and
Oh,
we'll get to
God.
the Meltzers. Oh my God, we'll get to the fucking Meltzers.
Did you know that apparently they're planning 6 women's matches for WrestleMania 36?
I've
God.
heard.
Do you want to see 6
I do
women's
not.
matches?
I do
You
not
wanna
want to
see
see
7
I
men's
don't
matches?
even want to see Becky versus Shane. Okay, I don't want to see it.
Thank you.
That tells you something right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did hear that, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see 6 women matches. 3 is going to be enough.
I don't mind women's matches, but you don't have enough talent to pull off 6, so
Nope.
that's where I
agree.
land.
I agree. That means they're going to have a bunch of fucking NXT superstars in the fucking Battle Royals.
I hope it's Becky Lynch versus the bullied kid.
Oh,
Weird.
An,
For a
inter-
chance to go to Disneyland.
an intergender midget match.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. So let's get
No,
to
you're not.
no, I'm not sorry. So let's get to Takeover. I have the matches in front of me. Keith Lee, Dominic versus Dominic Dijakovic. I know these guys have wrestled. We talked about this earlier. This is for the NXT North American Championship. We've talked about this before. These guys have wrestled twice. This was their rubber match. This kind of pissed me off because they said this is their rubber match. Whoever wins this will end that rivalry. That was the whole build to the story. Keith Lee goes over Dominic Dijakovic. I thought it was these two are transcending big men matches.
Mhm.
These two are two of the better big men that I think I have ever seen wrestle. Thoughts?
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Basement?
I don't agree with you. no. I mean, yeah, obviously, like these two guys. I mean, especially with, I would say, like, okay, so Keith Lee is a big guy, but he's not tall. He's got the weight, and he works really well with his weight. I feel like he's an evolution of Kevin Owens in terms of how good he is with the size of his body.
Right.
Dijakovic is tall but lean, but he's also like so athletic. The bottom line is this is always going to be a fun thing to see, but in the end, I've seen it.
Yep.
And was a detriment. That this is the problem that I feel like this is part of the problem with NXT. NXT tends to love to retread old ground until old ground has become ancient ground. And in this match, I would say the same thing. I felt like it was probably one of their better matches that they put on.
They should have ended it here, but again, Dominic Dijakovic came out on Wednesday and said, "I'm not done with you yet," and I'm like, "Oh fuck."
Yep.
There were two spots in this match, and thank God Keith Lee is as strong as he is.
Yep, I agree with you 100%.
He had to keep the spot of the night for me was the spot where Dijakovic dove on the outside and Keith Lee was sitting in the chair.
Yep.
That is the spot where I thought Dominic Dijakovic was going to die.
That was such a dangerous spot, in my honest opinion.
Yes.
That was one of the most dangerous spots I've ever seen because you're diving between two tables with rigid rigid corners on both sides, and this guy's like just fucking flopping in between them.
Yep. But Keith Lee sitting down caught him, kept him from his head hitting the ground.
Yeah,
because it would have been his neck.
The bottom line, he was fucked any direction he wouldn't. If he didn't hit that perfectly, and if Keith Lee wasn't Keith Lee, he'd be fucked.
Yep. Yeah. This match went 20 minutes and 20 seconds.
I have questions about the future of Dijakovic because of his size.
Yes.
And because he can only put on this kind of match with somebody like Keith Lee. How many people are like Keith Lee?
Not many in NXT.
Or WWE main roster. You get there. No, Damian Priest is, I would put more like Dijakovic than Keith Lee. I mean, I'm not saying that they couldn't have a good match together or anything like that. I just feel like a lot of what's being showcased from him will have to be reeled in because he's fighting someone smaller than him. He's going to have to be the dominating force, where he's kind of been the high flyer or smaller weight in the matches with Keith Lee.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see what happens with him. I do not want to see these two fight again.
Me neither, but I have this funny.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Well, it's NXT now, and this is the problem.
Yep.
NXT is getting this fucking.
Yep.
They're gonna fight forever type of fucking mentality.
Yeah, because the crowd actually chanted "Fight forever," and then the end of the promo, Keith Lee said, "Go talk to William Regal and see if he'll let us fight forever." And it's
nope. This match should have been Keith Lee versus fucking Damian Priest.
Damian Priest.
My honest opinion.
Yep, I can agree with you.
Ouch, dog! My fingers are not chew toys.
So,
sorry.
Anybody else thoughts?
I thought it was the best way to start that whole event.
I agree with that.
It was a good match. It was a good match. It was a good match. But I don't see any.
So, bottom line is, we all knew it was happening. It shouldn't have been happening, but we all knew it was happening, and it was a great way to start the show.
It was. Bob it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, please.
Mr.
Oh, God.
Gives it 5 stars.
2.5 stars.
No, 4.25.
4.25, so 10?
4.25.
4.25.
4.25. You know what? No.
I mean, I can see it. Honestly.
I don't
it was a good match.
I'm going to tell you right now, none of these matches were.
I agree to it. Here's the thing. Have we seen it? Yes. Have we seen it? Yes. Did you see it? Yeah. We saw it. Did you catch that? Yeah, we saw it. Okay, so there's no way it's more than a 4 because
None of these
did you
matches-
catch it? We saw it.
The two, okay, I'm gonna say like a 4, and the reason why I say that is because of the two huge leaps that happened that could have killed Dijakovic if Keith Lee
That's true.
would not have
But
been Keith Lee.
that's why I'm going to give it 3.75.
Yeah,
I'm shy of a 4 because I've seen it 8 times already.
I'm
It was one of the best of the 8 times, but man, eventually you're just like, have you seen someone skydive? Have you seen it 1,000 times? Is it that much like more risky because
Yeah,
you've seen it?
I'm with you. I would probably even go less than that. I'd probably say 3.5 stars. And like I said, I don't think there was a match on this card that was a 4-star match.
I'm going to go take a quick poop.
Go ahead.
I mean, okay.
I'm sorry. People can sit here and say, but it was the greatest show that they have done. It was very, very, very consistent. But some of the shit that happened on this show was fucking annoying as hell. Some of the decisions that they made was bullshit. And I'm gonna fucking be straight up with you. It's all because of their production value, because they are now the third brand on the main roster.
Yeah.
Think about
Yeah.
that for a fucking second.
Can I want to address something that Alpha said in the chat real quick. He
Go
said
ahead.
that if they want to do multiple women's matches, do another all women's pay-per-view. Pay-per-views need
No.
to be split. Hold on. Pay-per-views need to be split between the men and the women. Plus the last women's
No.
pay-per-view didn't even do anything anyway. I disagree big time with that. And the reason why is because you're just getting to the point where like you have this like equal playing field across the board as far as like men and women in WWE. And if you split the rosters to do different pay-per-views all the time, then you're going to have a problem with like the equality level
Well,
because
then you're gonna run into the whole there's gonna be fucking 18 pay-per-views a fucking year again.
Right,
And I don't wanna
right,
fucking
and not
see
only that, but like who wants to watch an all women's pay-per-view? Like
I don't
yeah,
want to see it.
no, I don't see it either. And then you're going to run into a problem where women's wrestling is going to be in a detriment again because people are not going to be watching those pay-per-views. They're going to be watching the men's pay-per-views instead.
Yeah, and I'm only gonna say this, and I'm not shitting on women here. I just don't.
Racist.
It's even the men in the men's for the WWE. Who's the draw
Nobody.
for the women? Who's the draw? Is Becky
Nobody.
Lynch really a draw?
Does Ron? They over here.
Is Ronda Rousey really a draw? How far does she move the fucking
I would say
needle when
Ronda
she was there?
Rousey is more of a draw than anybody else on that
I
roster.
get that, but is she that much more of a draw? How much farther did she move the needle?
Yeah, and I think that like Evolution really proved that. I mean, Evolution could have been great, but it fell flat on its
Evolution
ass.
is a mystery.
I mean, it fell flat on its ass, and it was not good at all.
I didn't watch
It had
it,
the
to be honest.
potential.
She wanted to
It
It
had
was
the
a
potential
mystery.
to be great, but
He's walking over to you.
It remains a mystery to me because I never saw it. Where are we?
sorry.
The next, that was it.
What?
The
How is that
well,
it?
we were at Bob
Yeah,
gave us the
Alpha.
Meltzer rating.
Sorry, JP.
No, that's fine. And then she went off on it
Well,
Alpha
Alpha
said
just
something.
commented in the chat, and I wanted to address it. That's
about the
sorry.
6 women, 6 women's match.
I don't mind. Like if they're built well, I don't mind. I don't care
Mhm.
as long as the women can go and there's 6 women that can't.
That was
The 12 women that can go or more than that.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that wasn't the argument. Like Alpha said that he thought that they should split the rosters and do all women's and all men's pay-per-views, and I said that would.
Yeah, I'd rather die.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, I don't want to watch any of them. Second of all, I'd probably never watch the women's one. I like not to any detriment to the women. It's just like now when I see like most women's matches, like sometimes they get it really well, and sometimes they can do really well, and sometimes they're great, but sometimes they're not. And I feel like it's just like the transition of wrestling where like you have a bit more of the not, then you have a bit more of the yeah
And
at
I
this point in time.
feel like I don't know if Heather maybe agrees with me, but I feel like the whole women's evolution, we're on the tail end of that. So like the fact that they keep on trying to pound it home so much is starting to actually just get more annoying than anything.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole point behind the whole evolution was it's women's time to shine, and then we go right back to women getting one or two matches on shows with a product that's not ready to do 20-minute matches.
Yep.
Like
Well,
tonight.
WWE's become, let's extend, like Basement says all the time, let's extend a 6-minute match into a 20-minute match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like tonight on
And
fucking
when
SmackDown.
you say extend, they mean extend. Have you heard of a roll up? Now do it like
Do it 600
30
times
seconds
in a
slower.
Oh my god. That fucking final
Oh,
match, man, was
fuck.
like slow
Oh,
motion. It was bad. It was bad. The next match is a women's match, and it was surprisingly, it was almost match of the night. Dakota Kai versus Tegan Knox. It would have been match of the night had the ending not happened.
Yeah.
Dakota Kai beat Tegan Knox by interference from what's her fucking
Raquel Gonzalez.
Raquel Gonzalez, or as before she became Raquel Gonzalez was Reina Gonzalez, I think was her name.
Yeah.
This match was a
Mhm.
street fight. It went 13 minutes and 24 seconds. This match, it started off
Amazing.
brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing about this pay-per-view is it was brutal. There was brutal spots in this match, and they were safe brutal spots, but they were brutal spots nonetheless. And this match started off as brutal. It's like
Yeah, you gotta watch the titty slapping fest.
I loved this match up until the interference. Like we
Yep.
were all watching together, and I think we were simultaneously we were all like, "What the fuck?" Because that match was amazing.
which
Yeah,
we were
it
not
was-
expecting.
it
I
was-
was not expecting it to be very good.
I mean, Heather said to me, like, you'll be pleasantly surprised because, like you said, I didn't think it was going to be very good. But they did deliver. I mean, I trust Dakota Kai at least. Tegan Knox, I was kind of on the fence with, but they did beat the living fucking shit of each other. I'm not
They
going to
really
lie.
did, and I was
Like,
so
they
angry.
went down.
But I
Yeah,
think-
the ending was.
But I mean, I think
Not
that was the
needed.
whole goal. Was to leave us kind of angry about what happened and get more heel heat for Dakota
But this,
Kai. But
this is
still.
the other thing with NXT. This should have ended
Yep.
tonight.
Yep.
And this is not the only thing that should have ended tonight, is all I'm going to say.
Yep.
I mean, like NXT, I've always praised them for a long time, been like, oh, they always extend things past the point of me expecting them to. But now I feel like it's at a
To the
detriment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at a detriment instead of it being like, oh, just, they never expected this to go this long. But now it's like, but why?
Right. Right. Bobbitt?
This match got 3 stars.
I can agree with that.
I just.
No, I would probably give it this.
It might
to
be- I'd be
me,
a little higher.
3.5.
I'd be a little higher.
I mean,
Or a 3.25 at least. I
Yeah.
mean, just
Yeah.
subtract
3.5.
0.25.
It would have gotten a higher score had the fucking ending not been.
Exactly.
Yeah, I felt like this was a good 3.75 before the ending.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can
And
agree.
taken down to a 3 or 3.25 because
Yep.
of the ending.
Yeah.
I can agree. I can agree.
I was pleasantly surprised by this because
I was too, because I
I
was
thought
very
it was going to be
skeptical
fucking
myself.
garbage, to be honest. But
I think the wrong person, or did I pick? No, I picked Tegan Knox because she can't. And I see the reason why she lost. It kind of protected her, but still, she can't win the fucking big match. Something always fucking happens to her. Is she gonna be that fucking woman that never wins the big one? I just, you're kind of killing her.
knowing NXT, she'll win the big one in 2.5 years.
Trek, what about you?
I thought it was good until the ending, and then the ending we were all pretty much what the fuck. And then I get why they did it with it being non-disqualification and stuff like that. But so it's like it just felt anticlimactic.
What do you
It
give the
was.
match?
I give the match 2.
A 2.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yo,
You're
Trex.
an asshole.
Yeah, no, you're okay.
Hey,
I like
I'm
it.
not want to talk about beating up a dwarf person.
Yeah, well, I mean, we should.
You
I
you
need
really only
first.
give it a 2 out of 5.
I'll give it a 3. I'll go up.
I'm like,
I mean, keep talking to him. I'll give it a 7.
No, the most I'll give it a 3 because I think that injury brought it down. I thought that there were a couple of spots where I thought that they hit their heads a couple of times. Like I think there was one dive onto the table outside where I thought they both dived. Like holy
well,
shit!
Yeah, it was like a good match, but there was a bit sloppiness involved. I
well,
mean,
but
is what it is.
with them beating the hell out of each other, you kind of expect them to be tired.
Also, I also wouldn't say they like. I mean, I'm saying they beat the hell of each other, but did
Yeah.
they really beat the hell of each
Well,
other?
I mean the visual is better than fucking
You
Kofi Kingston.
gotta watch a fucking titty slap marathon. I'm telling you.
Better
You
than
gotta
Kofi.
do it, JP, and I gotta watch you watch it.
So the Kofi Kingston thing, fucking dead 2 seconds into the fucking match. Next match, Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. This match was 27 minutes and 22 seconds. This should have been the. Well, no, I see why it wasn't. Well, there's a reason why it wasn't. I was thinking this would have been the undercard to the main event, but Finn Balor beats Johnny Gargano. I paid attention to this match, but I didn't really pay attention to this match because we had a little one fucking could not find her pappy, which happened to be in my fucking coat the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
But
Oh my gosh.
but
I remember this.
from what I seen of it, it was okay because I was running around pretty much. But I enjoyed it. It was a good match. Was it? It had its moments where it's again a 27-minute, 22-second match. Kind of okay. I can do other things while I'm watching this match. That's how I felt. I'm sure
thing is,
fucking Dave
it's
Meltzer gave this fucking 5 stars.
18 stars.
It had Johnny Gargano in it, but
Oh, Johnny Gargano versus
yeah, Finn Balor.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good match, but I wouldn't say it was the best match on the card.
Yeah.
It was decent.
I wasn't like, I didn't get the brutality.
I wasn't blown away. But again, it was a brutal match, but I wasn't blown away.
It was a match that should have been 12 minutes.
Yes.
Extended to 28
and
minutes.
for some reason, because it has Johnny Gargano in it, we gotta fucking have it go.
No, I'm gonna say right now, this is the moment I knew NXT is becoming Raw and SmackDown.
Yep.
Oh, I watched a match that should have been over before it was over, just because it needed to be longer, and I'm like, oh, why? They're not telling a storyline. They're just doing the same fucking thing over. Oh, wait, they're lying down on the ground for 3 minutes? Okay, great. I don't know. It did not. Like, this match should have been better than it was, but at the same time, it shouldn't have been the length it was.
I agree.
The problem that I had with this match was the ending because Johnny Gargano lost. And as we know, and as we've talked about, Johnny Gargano ends up coming out and costing Ciampa the title. So
we
how
haven't
the fuck
gotten
does
that
that make
far.
sense? Well, yeah, but we talked about it earlier in the show.
Well,
Yeah, but,
I picked Finn Balor.
No, me too. I think the right person won, but I'm just saying, like, how does it make sense to have Johnny Gargano come out during the title match?
Well, we know why. I explained.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
We don't know
it's a
why.
terrible
I mean,
decision.
But
we
I
know
think
why, obviously,
we've given our ideas as to why it's happening.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
I don't know, but well, please let's give 5-star Johnny. What do we give it?
18 stars. I fucked my grandma during it.
He gave it 4.5.
What the fuck?
No.
I hope Dave Meltzer gets hit by a comet.
I mean,
Well, if he gets
I
hit by a
could have been
comet, we
like
all get hit
10
by a comet.
stars.
I could have been like a 3.75.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
it wasn't a bad match or anything. It's just like it added to like the confusion of the whole pay-per-view. Like I felt like everything they did was like, unless they have something super secret safe for us, it's probably made by someone who has Down syndrome.
I'd give it a 3.2.
Yeah, 3. I'm gonna go 3.
Really, nothing on this card that I was.
I felt like this card
overwhelmed
was
with.
built super strong, but I never really got above a 3 for it.
Yeah.
It was a solid card, and it delivered a solid pay-per-view, but like it never delivered.
It didn't
What
deliver the way that it should have delivered.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
It's like that WrestleMania card 2 years ago. It was so good, but then it fucking WrestleMania 35. I think it's WrestleMania 35
I
card.
hope the opposite
Or
happens for this
34,
one.
WrestleMania 34 card, and then it just like what is we're getting this? Shit?
Was that
That
AJ
was
Styles versus Shinsuke?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I want to see John Cena versus fucking Nikki Bella in a abortion match.
Oh
Oh,
my
no.
god! Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh my god!
What is
Weird,
wrong
yep.
with you?
I mean, it came out before I could think about it.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna put you on fucking mute. Jesus Christ!
WrestleMania.
Oh
What do you?
God.
I'll up the women's match to 3.5 so I could give this 3 stars because this went on. It was good, but it went on way too long. And there was one where Johnny went splat, and we thought he was really fucked up. I mean, I thought he hit his head. I thought he hit his head on the ground. I thought he hit his back on the stairs.
What did you give it?
3.
A 3?
Yeah.
Bob, what about you?
I'll give it a 3.5, honestly.
You would. Okay.
That's where we
I
started.
mean, I said 3.75. It was. I mean, it was a brutal match.
I feel
you
like the doctor could be like, Bobby, we found out you have cancer.
would.
It's spreading.
3.75.
Ah!
What?
What?
I think that you've lost your way. Let's move on.
Yeah, he's lost his mind.
No, he's- Okay, well, whatever.
I think sleep is taking over basement.
Next match is Rhea.
Alright.
Yeah, here we go.
Ah!
Next match is Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the NXT Women's title.
I didn't like this match at all.
I didn't mind it.
Ah!
I didn't
Yeah.
mind it. It wasn't the best. It wasn't great, but it wasn't better than the other women's match.
No.
I would. The ending happened. Charlotte came out after the match, which I understand. This made sense for her to do what she did.
Yeah, I mean the Charlotte
Yeah.
spot at the end
Think
was it
That
sense,
made
but-
sense. That I could see. That built to something that's actually going to happen. That we figured was going to happen. It makes sense.
I personally think like Rhea Ripley is incapable of actually controlling a match.
I'm starting to think the same thing. This was my problem with her. Them putting a title on her. Is she
And then
ready?
her against probably the most prestigious fucking women's championship right now in the business.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see a problem.
What?
I support Rhea as NXT champion, but I do not support her going at Charlotte Flair right now.
Well, she's the one that called it.
not. She's not fucking ready for Charlotte Flair. I'm sorry.
I don't think
but-
she's ready to be a champion yet.
Yeah, I mean, like it's such a for me. Everything that they've done with Rhea Ripley has been a misstep. I mean, it's been good to like focus on her and everything, but like at the same time, it's like fucking hell, man. You're putting the world on her shoulders, and she's definitely not ready.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Here, if it would have been me booking this, I would have put the title on Io Shirai, and then
Io
had
Shirai's
Io
hurt right now.
Shirai.
Io Shirai's
Yeah.
hurt right now.
Oh, that explains a hell of a
Yeah.
lot then. Because I was gonna say like Io Shirai challenging Flair would have made more sense to me.
I feel like Rhea Ripley challenging her is probably going to kill her as a character eventually.
Yep. And if she loses the title, it'll kill her completely.
Yeah.
If she wins the title, what does that mean?
I mean, she wins over the 10-time fucking
No,
Raw and
I'm
SmackDown
saying if Charlotte.
No,
No,
I
he's
know,
not
but what
saying-
we're
see-
saying is if Rhea wins, what does that mean for
Rhea
Charlotte?
wins- what does that mean for anybody? To be honest,
Sure.
nothing, because nothing matters. I literally do not give a shit about this match.
No, I'm with you.
I
I'm
mean,
with you.
I think it's gonna end with Rhea Ripley winning.
I think the only reason that it's happening, and we're going to talk about Bianca Belair in 2 seconds because that was another thing that happened
I
on
think
that
yeah.
in NXT that fucking pissed me off.
I think she's getting thrown in. I think it's going to be a triple threat.
No, that's
And I don't think so. I don't think so.
I forgot what I was going to say because god damn it,
It's
Gene.
okay.
Sorry.
Rhea Ripley is going to face Charlotte
Oh,
Flair.
I think the only reason that Charlotte is anywhere near this match is to elevate the women's division in NXT because it is the best women's division in WWE. So they're using Charlotte's name to elevate the division. Only reason she's in this match.
Charlotte losing doesn't really hurt her in any way.
No.
I did read the other day that Vince had a huge hand in this because apparently Vince was the one that wanted to see Charlotte Flair go up against Rhea Ripley.
I feel like Vince is like as retarded as he is great. he's like half retard, half genius.
I mean, retarded genius, isn't that the way that shit always gets done? Like, I mean, you gotta be a little crazy.
What do you feel like, Vince? He's like, I like crackers.
So let's talk about Bianca Belair because she loses this match and she got attacked by Charlotte on Sunday night. But she comes out in the middle of a match.
Oh god, I hated that.
That was actually the thing I hated the most.
I agree, and it's another reason why I feel like Basement does that it has now just become Raw and SmackDown because she comes out and both of them stop wrestling.
But
if
why?
it was me and I was competing in the ring, I would have beat the fuck out of Bianca.
Fucking shit out of this fucking asshole.
I would have. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm going to fucking destroy you. And
you don't even go in.
And again,
Ganymede.
But she comes out and she's like, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna let y'all finish. Like she's somebody huge that can just fucking destroy anybody.
And then she turns around and you can finish now. Like what the fuck?
I get what they're doing with her, but here's the thing, and I said this before. I'm like, there is heel heat because all of us have watched TV shows, movies, and everything, and we realize there's a bad guy, and we realize why they're bad, and there's a good bad guy, like the Joker. There's a good bad guy for every fucking... If bad guys made right, they're good, because they're made right. But then there's a bad guy I'd rather see just not exist, and it's not like... oh my god, I like them so much. Or I hate them so much. It's not out of favor at all. Like I don't want to see you ever. I don't want to see you talk. I don't want to see you exist. I'd be happy if you were blasted off the face of the earth.
And Bianca Belair is one of those people for me.
And she is one of those people for me. It's not the intriguing things. I want to turn the channel, and that's the problem I feel like that exists with WWE. They kind of lost their way in heels. It's like, oh my god, the greatest heel alive is one that doesn't want you to watch them. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right? I mean,
the best heel ever is someone no one sees because no one wants to.
They do it so well with Randy Orton. And then it's like she's the only one, and then everybody else is just got to be the same.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
shut up,
mean,
Ruby.
I'm gonna
Nobody
get
cares.
like right now. I'm gonna say right now, Randy Orton was fucking absolutely masterful in everything he did with Edge, and this is why that's the only match I'm looking forward to because Randy
Yep.
Orton is a fucking
He's been
god.
that way forever.
Yeah, he has been, but this specific match, he has done something I haven't seen in wrestling for a long time.
Mhm.
And I made this argument the other day on Twitter because like people were like, "Who's the better heel, MJF or Randy Orton?" And I'm like,
Randy
"Yeah,
Orton.
hold on a second. Like MJF might be the hot heel at the moment,
No,
but Randy
he's-
Orton has been doing
Yeah.
this for fucking decades. Like
MJF is
decades.
MJF's getting to the point where he's
Well, you know, and
yeah.
like with Randy Orton, it's like I would make an argument that he's one of the greatest heels of all time, just simply because he has consistently done this heel role over not a couple of years. This guy's been consistently hitting
but
this
I'm
heel
gonna
mark
say-
for decades.
I'm gonna say right now, the segment he's got going on with Edge, you will look at this point in time. You can't. There's no other heel that can do it the way he's done it.
And you're gonna get a
Because-
great match at WrestleMania from those two because of it.
I mean, even if the match isn't great, it's gonna be great.
I mean, honestly, do you honestly think that match isn't gonna be great? I
It
mean,
has a chance of not
I-
being great.
I think the match will be okay.
Yeah,
But
I agree. I
because
don't think it'll be
of
great.
what's gone into it, it'll be that much better. Bottom line is like fucking Randy Orton is so good and Edge is so good, but Randy Orton is that much better than
Is-
any other heel you'll ever see because he realizes it's not you can't just sit there and be like Humpty Dumpty, oh you fell. You
Yes.
fucking
I'm
Mustache.
skeptical because Edge has been out of the ring for how long? There's no saying that it might flat on its face.
I feel
mean-
like I think the match is almost negligible at this point in time.
Oh, it's
I think the
no,
match will
I get
be
it.
good or
Okay.
okay at best.
This is
The
where the
only-
storytelling needs to be a huge factor because Edge has been out of the ring for
And it
so
will be.
long.
And that's exactly what I was
I
just
feel
gonna
like
say.
that-
As of
like
WrestleMania
this-
right now, like the
That's
only
the
thing
match for me.
that has been being built right is the Randy Orton and Edge feud.
Yep.
They've been
Well-
building that consistently since the Royal Rumble. So
Yes.
that's the only thing. That's the reason why I'm looking forward to that match and that match alone for WrestleMania because it's the only one that has a build to it.
and people out there I'm probably in the minority on this and I don't give a fuck. I don't fucking care.
I mean,
people
I
think.
like
With respect to Matt Hardy. What
hard.
what happened on Raw on Monday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Orton
yeah,
yeah.
beat the shit.
obliterated.
He got deleted off of WWE television.
Destroyed. But and everybody's like, well, how come nobody's coming out and helping him? Why? He's a grown ass man and he fucking came out, challenged Randy Orton. Randy Orton kicked the shit out of him. It's like no other if somebody, even if their contract wasn't fucking running out, WWE, the guy would have been on his own if he doesn't have any friends. Jeff Hardy's not there. That's
Well,
the
and the
only other
thing-
person that would have come out and helped. Who else
Well,
is
and
going
the
to come
thing
out? and
is, you can't really expect them to go any other way because up
No.
until those guys actually meet at WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber, wherever the fuck it's gonna be, up
WrestleMania.
until the point that they
Just
meet,
God.
it needs to be WrestleMania. But up until they meet, Randy Orton is going to consistently run through people, and Edge is going to
Yes.
consistently be the face.
But he's
That's-
going to, and destroying Matt Hardy is going to add to that story with the next time Edge shows up.
Exactly.
So
Because Edge
people
was
stop.
such close friends with, or the not
Well,
Edge
they're not
was
close.
not
No.
close, but
No,
you know what I mean. Like,
the
they
problems
were-
and Matt Hardy kind of like
yes, yes,
talked about it.
I understand that, but they made up and they're fine now. But those
Mhm.
two are pretty much forever linked together
Mm-hmm.
because of what happened in the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era.
Mhm.
So, like, when you take out Matt Hardy, that's pretty much a direct stab at Edge.
I mean, in my mind, this is what's lacking from most pay-per-views. Something I don't give a
Beautiful
shit that they're.
storytelling.
Yeah, I mean they're old and shit like that, but like you can still do this with talent that's not old, but it has to be the older talent. I mean, I feel like this should be in my mind. I mean, I'm looking at yeah, you could have Brock Lesnar or McIntyre finish the show, but this is up there. It should be maybe the second last match
I
or third
agree.
last
I have a
match.
feeling that they're gonna end with a fucking another women's match again.
I hope not
No.
because
I have
it
a feeling.
deserve it. No, I think
No.
the last match is going to be McIntyre and Brock Lesnar, and I think
Mhm.
the third match is going to be Edge, and I think the second last match is going to be some fucking bullshit.
Yeah. But back to the fucking Belzer ratings for the
Well,
women's.
well, yeah, but so this match was 13 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bobbit. Sorry.
Meltzer gave Beller versus Ripley 3.5 stars.
No.
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 This was the worst match of the night.
I
It's
honestly
like maybe
feel
like
like
a 2-star, like
2,
2.5 at most.
2.5, 3.
I feel like
Maybe.
everything happening with Rhea Ripley is too soon.
I agree. She's not ready. She's not ready.
Nope.
She's damn good,
She's
but
good,
they should
but
have
she's
waited
not
her.
I
ready.
mean, I feel like she's good, but she's like if we saw Charlotte 5 years ago and we're like, let's put the company up on her.
Well, the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's really good, and I understand that she's been over in NXT UK for like for a while. I understand that, but she's really good. But in order to like push her up to that stardom, way too soon. Like they should have given her time to like settle into NXT, build her character.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like she's good, but like in ring,
She's got work to do.
I feel like the only reason why they have the title on her is one, Io Shirai got injured, and two, she can talk.
She's not a bad speaker.
Yeah, no, I mean
She's not ready
she's got everything going for her. It's just like why is
She
she
needed
facing
time.
why is she facing probably the most prestigious women's championship or women's champion of this era?
Mm-hmm.
In what way does that make sense? First and
No,
foremost.
don't say that because people will say Becky is the most prestigious champion. But
And I
she's-
say that they're
she's
full of
been-
shit.
No, I
Like-
agree, but you hear that all the fucking time. It's just
I
shut
say they're
up.
full of shit. Becky Lynch has had a good past, I'm going to say like 2 years. Charlotte Flair has had an
She's been
excellent
consistent.
past 10 years.
She's but she hasn't been here.
Well, how long?
Yeah, but also I mean
however long
you
she's been here.
compare wrestlers.
I get what you're saying, Yoji. I do.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Charlotte versus fucking Becky Lynch. I mean, there's no argument. One's
Yeah.
better than the other.
Charlotte's better than Becky. Sorry, care what anybody fucking says.
Charlotte is just she has it all.
Yeah,
She really
does.
does. Like
She
she's
does.
great in the ring.
She's-
She's a natural
she's
in
not-
the ring.
She's better at wrestling than she is talking, but she's not that bad at talking. People are saying that she sounds like a fucking robot. It's because
Yeah.
she's supposed to sound condescending. You dumb
Yeah,
fucking
she's like
people.
at that heel.
So how does Becky Lynch sound?
She
Like
sounds like
the
a
biggest badass in the world? She sounds like
This
some
is how she
fucking
sounds,
dumb
Basement.
fucking turnip farmer.
You're a fucking idiot. And I'm gonna kill you. That's how she sounds.
Well, when the man comes around, I'll be there when the man comes around. I'm like, I'm still waiting for the man to come around. That you've been here 18 times for
Right.
fuck's sakes, man.
yeah.
Don't showcase yourself the way you can't produce.
Yeah.
Fucking clown.
She is. She's. I don't care what anybody fucking says. You want to fucking come at me? Come at me. I don't give a fuck. At the Cold Bone Show, motherfucker. All right.
The thing is, I like Becky Lynch, but the
I mean,
problem
I
is
felt
I
like
Becky Lynch the way that she was.
No, I like
Not the way
exactly.
that she is now.
I felt they struck gold, and then they were like, gold? How about we turn it to bronze? How about we turn it to not worth anything? Oh my god! I love where we're going with this concept.
Well, people seem to fucking love it, and they fucking bought into it.
Thank
So,
God.
but it's starting to sour on a lot of people. I've seen it.
I liked Becky Lynch back when she was more authentic. Like I'm
And
gonna say like her.
steampunk.
Yeah, the steampunk
I mean,
gimmick.
I like the steampunk gimmick. Though I did feel like at a certain point in time, it's like, where is this gonna go? So I wasn't against her becoming what she became, but I was against them being like, oh, she became that. Okay, well, fuck this shit.
The problem,
She's the next Steve Austin. Just
that's the
shift
problem
shirts and
because
everything.
they saw the Stone Cold resemblance, and
But
instead
there
of
is
turning
some
her into,
semblance. There really isn't that
But-
much
There
of
is
a
nothing
but
there.
but instead of
that says
turning
that.
her into Becky Lynch, the new with the Stone Cold type esque, instead of like turning her into a better character as herself, they literally tried to turn her into Stone Cold.
No, you're probably right, but it's wrong.
It fell
It
flat on its
failed.
fucking face, because what they should have done is they should have taken her character and made her just like this, like, cocky, kind of condescending, just like Stone Cold's attitude without his actions.
Yeah,
Right.
but she's not Stone Cold. She'll
She's
never be.
not. No, she will never be Stone
She doesn't
Cold.
have the charisma.
But they
to be
could have-
Stone Cold.
But they could have used it in a. What I'm saying is they could have used it with a twist and put it into her character to where it was more comfortable for her. Because how
Yeah.
long did it take her to fucking be able to be where she is now? Like it,
Mhm.
she was not comfortable with that shit for the longest
because she's
time.
not that person.
Exactly.
No, she's not.
And this is my like a huge argument with her whole character. I'm like, you're trying to turn somebody that's not that way into somebody that's that way.
Becky
Mhm.
Lynch standing there with a bloody nose and a bloody face going, "Come at me." That's what they should have done with her. Like they should have
I
used
mean, I'm
that.
sure she could have been that way, but the problem is Becky Lynch is a clown.
I like her,
She-
but
No, I'm
Just
not
not
saying
now.
I don't like her. I actually like Becky Lynch. I like the person of Becky Lynch, I guess, from everything I've seen. Like she's pun heavy and just like clowning around, having fun. But like being out there and being like trying to convolute being pun heavy and super fun to being a wannabe Stone Cold doesn't really
No, it don't work.
You
It don't
can't-
work.
you can't be the funny pun type person and the badass at the same
No,
time.
you can't.
Like,
it don't
Even
work.
Stone Cold wasn't
Couldn't do
that
it.
way. Like you never saw him being the badass Stone Cold at the same time that he was also wearing a fucking hat with Kurt Angle backstage.
Well, he was one or the other. He was never
Exactly.
Right. So that
Wait.
being said, I get it.
We went on a tangent.
No, it's all right. It's all right. The Broserweights. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. It wasn't the best match, but it was one of the best. It was fun. It was a fun match. The Broserweights: Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne versus the Undisputed Era Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly for the tag team championships. The right team won. They had to win because if they didn't, what the fuck are you gonna do with them? The only thing you can do is have them two fight. That's it.
Can I just say that the best part of this entire thing was at the fucking beginning when they had Bobby Fish's head on a fucking fish.
Yes, that was pretty funny, and they were
That
doing
shit
the
was
whole.
fucking
And they were doing the whole. If Bobby Fish could fry fish, how much fish could Bobby Fish fry?
Oh my god.
The shit
When
is
his
great.
fucking head popped up. Nope, I lost it.
It's great. Enjoyed it.
Sorry.
It served its purpose. The match was great, and they made the title. I will say this: they did make all the titles feel important, and they always have. There's one thing they've always done. Very seldom, and they have done it, but it's not like one of those things where they make it a point to do in every championship match that you see in WWE or you see in AEW. And I haven't really seen AEW do it that much, but you do see them doing fuck finishes a lot, if that makes sense.
Well, and I do
Here
have to say
in
that
NXT, their title matches, they feel important because it's actually now you will see them come down and interfere, but they will not. And I very seldom see it. They have the fuck finish be the reason that the guy lost. Now tonight, the championship match was fuck finish. the final match. But this match was great. I love this match. I don't know. Did anybody interfere in this match? Did Roderick Strong come out at all? I don't remember. So
No.
the Broserweights end up beating Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly in 16 minutes and 58 seconds. Enjoyed it.
This is where I like get to my point where I complain about tag team matches.
Mhm.
This is a really good match, but like, I mean, why can't other tag team matches be good matches? Why do they always have to be a segue to a singles title?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
I feel like tag team wrestling is an art, and certain people have done it so well. And I hate the idea that people are going to just be like, "Hey, there's a tag team match, whatever." But like, there's certain tag team matches and certain tag team divisions that do it so well. And NJPW, no.
Wait, with the tag team? Oh, what have you watched the tag team wrestling lately, Basement?
Yeah, but here's the thing: they do a tag team to promote every fucking match they have on the card.
Yeah, but here's the thing too, like New Japan.
But it never actually promotes the tag team. It promotes every fucking match they have on the card.
No, but like lately they've been putting a lot more focus on the actual tag team wrestling, like with God and Kota Ibushi and Tanahashi, or prior to that, God and Juice and David Finlay. Like, there's a lot more focus. Like, yeah, they still have their 3-on-3s or whatever, but there's a lot more focus on the actual tag teams instead of just throwing people together.
Well, I'm not a fan of tag team wrestling.
I'm gonna say right now, like, what's the last great tag team match you saw in New Japan?
God versus Finn Juice and David Finlay.
For
the tag team have like the IWGP tag team championships. And I'm also gonna say the fucking IWGP junior heavyweight champion, or those are always really good matches too.
I mean, you might have proven me wrong.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, here's the thing. If I watch New Japan, I'm going to see 18,000 fucking tag team matches.
Yeah. That's the problem. There's too many.
But
this is the one! This is the one you should see.
But hold on, what you're talking about, like, most of the time it's not even tag team matches. Most of the time it's like 3-on-3 or 4-on-4. Like, that's not tag team wrestling.
That's still a tag team match.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like when you talk tag team wrestling, like the first thing I think of is 2-on-2. You know, like actual tag team wrestling, like for like a championship or something.
You say it's potato, I say tomato.
The first thing you
tag. There's a difference.
Might not be the same. Okay? I mean, if everything I watch in New Japan that's tag team is like, it's building towards something or whatever.
Yeah, but that's
I don't give a shit about the tag.
It's alright. I mean, I get it. They have.
What care about New Japan's tag team if they literally shove 60% of their fucking pay-per-view as a tag team match?
That's true.
The reason why I don't mind the tag team matches that you're referring to is exactly what you said. They're building towards something. You know, like a lot of the times it's
building towards it to make you want.
I was just going to say, why do they all have to be tag team matches? Why can't there be... I mean, they have factions. And I get that they don't, have factions interfere with stuff all the time. However, they could have, let's say Kazuchika Okada is in LIJ. I'm just throwing that out there. I know he's not. And he's in a feud with Tanahashi. And he has one of his LIJ people wrestle him for the night. And then at the end of the match, he comes in and interferes. Shit like that. They don't need to have a tag team match all the fucking time to build to a fucking singles match.
Really, the only faction that they ever have do that is Bullet Club.
Well, I'm not even talking about
New Japan. I feel is like New Japan. I feel is like one of the most formulaic companies known to mankind.
But it works.
We don't. Yeah. Well, I mean. So does WWE.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Not for me.
I feel like New Japan and WWE are the exact same if you paid the same attention to both of them.
I disagree because WWE, when they have their tag team shit going on, it doesn't lead up to anything. New Japan, whenever they
What?
have a tag team match, it always leads to something.
Yeah, but WWE has a bunch of tag team matches that lead to
Do they lead to anything?
Yes.
Yes! The same thing New Japan leads to.
Okay,
They
so
do
like,
do that.
Singles
name
talent.
me. Okay,
Like-
hold on. Name me
Okay.
the last 3-on-3 match in WWE that
What?
actually led to something.
Literally just
The
happened
one tonight.
down Raw.
Which one?
What? Say it again, basement.
What just happened on SmackDown or Raw?
Yeah.
I
SmackDown.
didn't watch
Well,
SmackDown,
the
I was
Braun
sleeping.
Strowman thing.
The Braun Strowman thing. You got Braun Strowman and Elias versus all of a sudden Cesaro and fucking whatever his face is.
Right, but what is it leading to after
AJ
that?
Styles. AJ Styles.
But what is it
But-
leading to after that?
I
My
don't
question
know
is, are they gonna lead to something with it next?
It will.
It'll be useless just like it is in New Japan. It's the same useless bullshit.
It
man.
is. It is. They don't need to do tag teams all the time to build to a singles match. Do a singles match to build to a singles match. It's not that fucking hard.
I mean,
You
the
don't
thing
need
is,
to do
like,
tag team
the
matches
way I
all the time.
feel is like I love New Japan,
I do
but
too.
I feel like if I watch it the same way I watch WWE,
I'd
I'd hate it
get
just as
angry.
much as I hate WWE.
I would too.
Yeah, I
would get
disagree
angry.
because, like,
No,
to me,
you know-
it's like every single time.
Damn
Like, let's
you,
say
I
that they have,
guarantee you will.
but like, let's say that they have, I don't know,
They're formulaic, just like everything else.
let's say that they have Kenta and fucking what's their names? The junior heavyweights tag team from Bullet Club. I can't remember the names at the moment.
I just feel like
Yeah,
you're
they-
gonna see the formula wherever you watch permanently.
Well, there is a formula, but like my whole point is just that like at least it leads somewhere with New Japan because like if you have Kenta and
Sure.
the Bullet
Really.
Club junior heavyweight champions versus let's say Kazuchika Okada and the Chaos junior heavyweight champions, then usually it's going to lead to a match between Kenta and Okada later on down the line, and then the IWGP junior heavyweights fighting each other later on down the line. Like there's always a reason why those matches.
That is actually way more formulaic than what WWE does.
Which is why I like it. It makes
But I mean,
sense.
to a point, like everything leads to something,
But
but it's
what
kind of
I'm
the
saying
same
is,
when
what
you
I'm
look at it.
That's not a good thing.
I don't know. I
Because-
like it. How did we get here?
Tangents.
No.
All
we're
I'm
talking about
saying
the
is like
cruiserweights.
every single type of wrestling you're ever gonna watch is very formulaic.
Formulaic, yeah.
It's gonna be a certain formula because that's the way wrestling works.
It's
Oh, you're gonna
wrestling.
watch a horror movie? Have you seen the formula for horror movies? Oh, it's some sort of
Right
weird fucking
upstairs.
asshole. It's a bunch of fucking college kids. Just like we need to go to a cottage for some reason.
Oh, if
I
you
hope
have
you're
sex, you're gonna
retarded.
die.
And because we're gonna have sex, wild sex, when we get there.
Anyway. So the Broserweights beat
Oh
the
my
Undisputed
God.
Era. The Broserweights are your new tag team champions. What did Dave Meltzer give this?
17.
Dave Meltzer gave this 4.75 stars.
I don't know. No.
I could go like a 4.25. I mean, I
I
really
I
like
can.
go like a
that.
7.
I go with a 7. I'd probably go with 3.5-ish. Like I said, there is nothing that over 4 for me at all in this pay-per-view. Nothing. Nothing deserves it. Nothing.
I'm still trying to figure out how the fuck we got from never.
Because we were talking about tag teams. Gina.
Okay, okay. Anyway,
16.
I'm so confused.
Basement?
What?
What?
I give it a 7.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, Jesus, man.
He doesn't give it a 7. I bet Basement probably gives it, what, 3.75?
If you times that by 2 and added a point, I give it a 7. This is pretty good.
Okay.
Jesus
Well, I
Christ.
guess he gives it a 7. He's turning into fucking Meltzer.
It's got the math right.
Truck.
I'll give it 3.75. I thought this was really, but this is probably my favorite match of the night.
3.75 to 7.5 stars.
7.5.
What?
You're with
I'm
me.
so
Tell
confused.
3.5 times 2 would be 7.
Oh, good God.
Bob, what would you give this match?
I'd give it the same thing as a UJP.
Okay. It was good, but it like I said, probably the match of the night for me is probably it's pretty much all the same across the board for me so far because I
I mean,
just
it's easily a 7.
it's easily a 7. Okay, it's a 7 divided by 2, so
A 7.
just saying, which is 3.5. The next did we get yours, Trek?
Yeah,
Yeah,
7.75.
You said a 7.75.
7.75. He's up in the ante.
That is 3.75.
I love 7s.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
The final match of the night, which kind of fucking soured great me for the rest of the night, was Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa. Now, the match itself was good. But again, the ending, the way it finished, sucked cock. Don't understand the decision. Do trust WWE. Well, I trust the people in NXT who booked this stuff to make the right decision. I am fearful that they did not make the right decision.
Right.
That scares me as a wrestling fan of somebody that has. I haven't always been an NXT fan. There's been a time where I just hated NXT, and I don't know why. And then they started doing stuff that made sense, and it turned into fucking wrestling for me. They were telling stories inside the ring rather than showing me, hey, I can do this fucking backflip. I started getting into it. Now they're starting to go formulaic bullshit like fucking Raw and SmackDown. And this match is the beginning of it, which carried over into fucking Wednesday, which fucking annoyed the shit out of me. There, I've said what I had to say. Which caps off why this week in wrestling sucked for me. I hated everything about wrestling. And I think a lot of that has fucking burnt out on it. Too much fucking wrestling. That's all I'm going to say.
I
Good
mean,
match, though.
this
Good match, though. There was
match
a there was
solid
this
7.11.
7.11.
Yeah, solid
Yeah.
Slurpee.
There was
I'm
a
down.
there was a spot in this match where we all thought Tommaso Ciampa was dead or was going to die.
Oh my God! I thought for sure he fucked his neck again.
I
kinda
can't remember
preferred-
what it was. Didn't he powerbomb him or something?
No, well, he got powerbombed into the fucking the commentary table, and from the first angle, it looked like he like hit his neck. But then when they showed the replay, it was from the side, and you could see that he actually hit between the shoulders.
Which
But
they right, but which I think they did say on the back of his neck. Because if he would have landed on the front of his neck, if he would have killed him.
I'm
Yeah,
I
the
am
front of
sorry.
his neck. That's just,
no, I
It
thought
was
he hit at the
just
back of his neck.
I mean,
I am gonna say right now though that I do actually think that it did. Well,
yeah,
it
break
caused
his
numbness
soul.
in his hand because
Oh,
you
of
could
course
see
he did.
you
course he
could
did.
see throughout the match
Yeah, he
kept on
almost
trying
died.
to get that movement back in his hand.
I will say this. It could have been that, or he was doing a good job of selling what happened. Because he does have a history and he was selling his neck.
Yeah, but I
that
mean,
was the story of the match because they kept referring to it. So I think it could have been, okay, this is that spot and you're gonna have to sell your arm going numb. I'm not sure. But
I
they
mean,
don't
I could definitely see it.
they don't talk about the intricacies of the spot itself. So,
Yeah.
which they shouldn't, because that's where the kayfabe. If they did, and they was like, "Oh yeah, okay, he's really fine." Well, no shit, he's really fine, but don't
Yeah.
tell me that. I don't need to
I
know
mean, I just like, okay, you guys know that I have a neck problem, so like
Yes.
my hand goes numb all the time. So that's the first thing that I seen. As you said, he could have been doing it for like kayfabe purposes. I'm not sure, but the first thing I seen like the entire match was him like trying to get that feeling back in his hand.
Mhm.
I think that at first, when it first happened, I think that his arm really did go numb because he was doing the same shit that I do, you know, moving the fingers, trying to get it going. But when it came to the point when he was like, his shoulder was like drooped and
Mhm.
his arm was just like dead. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was kayfabe.
Yeah, he was I think he was selling throughout the whole thing. I think
Yeah.
initially, I think it was just one of those scary things, and that's why he was doing that. But
Yeah.
neither here nor there. 33 minutes and 23 seconds this match lasted.
All I have to say is, what does Tommaso Ciampa have against his neck? It's like Kota Ibushi all over again.
Yes, but it's not as good as Kota Ibushi. I'm just
I mean,
saying
Kota
that
Ibushi just like fucking DDTs himself all the time.
I enjoyed this match. I'm pretty sure everybody else did. I know I wasn't feeling good when Basement and them got on and watched it because we watched it again. What did you think of this match, Basement? He didn't like it.
7.5.
No, it was decent. That's all I'm saying.
It was a good match. It was a good match.
It was a good match. I enjoyed all of it. I would have enjoyed a bit more.
I hated the finish. I didn't understand why Gargano
spoiled it for everybody.
I mean, I feel like this match shouldn't even happen, but whatever. It did. And I hated the ending.
The ending was stupid.
Bottom line, it just like doesn't make sense
Yep.
for me. It's this is my actual point because fuck NXT is taking like steps backwards because like I have always loved NXT for like taking their time when I was like, oh, I'm surprised they're gonna take more time to actually build this. But this was that moment where I'm like, oh, but why are they taking more time to build this? You know what I mean? Like,
right?
There was times before it was like, oh, I thought this would change. I thought the title holder would change, or I thought the person like that could contend for the title would change. But this was just like, holy fuck, man! I mean, it's not just, and it's not just the final match. It's just like I don't know, the whole thing as a total.
Here's my question: where do they go from here for like NXT Takeover, like the WrestleMania weekend? Because obviously it's going to be Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa again for WrestleMania weekend.
I think
probably who's going to take on Adam Cole?
Velveteen Dream
or Finn Balor? For me, I personally think Finn Balor has more of like a right to challenge Adam Cole because he won his match.
Triple threat.
It's going to be a multi-person match. I can tell you that right now. I personally think it's going to be Finn Balor versus Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano.
I would tell you right now, like the way that NXT operates is catching up to them because now they're on the legit playing field with Raw and SmackDown. Eventually, you have to come to a point where you're going to deliver something, and when you don't, and 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 then we get here, it's like, oh, this is what it was. The same thing we saw 17 fucking years ago.
Right.
Not only that, but
fuck's sakes, man.
They're gonna have to come up with something huge because WrestleMania weekend, NJPW, ROH, and I believe AEW are all in the same area as well. And ROH and NJPW are running Supercard of Honor the same night.
AEW is not doing anything.
Oh, are they? Well,
They
I know
are
ROH
not. No,
and
they
New
are
Japan
not.
are.
I don't know, JP. I heard it's gonna be huge.
No,
well, I mean,
no.
I okay. So AEW's out, but I know ROH and NJPW are running Supercard of Honor.
Well, they did that last year, and
Right, but my
on
whole
his
thing
face,
is
but-
like WWE, you know that they're going to bring something huge. So I just have a
Yeah.
feeling that it's going to end up with like a ladder match or something like that.
Oh no, it's going to be something. But as far as I know, from what I heard, Cody said no because that would be. What did he say? He
Huge.
said we're not going to do anything WrestleMania weekend because that would be something. I can't remember.
Huge.
I mean, I wonder if he's not thinking that that would maybe be unfair to like his friends over in New Japan because a lot of his friends are doing the Supercard of Honor.
No, it had nothing to do with that.
Oh,
It's just
Could
in
be either.
general. I think he said they weren't going to do any. AEW wasn't doing anything because they didn't want to step on toes or something. I don't know.
well,
I
I
don't-
mean that's respectable at least because
No,
then that
and
kind
it
of
is.
you
And
know
if it was WWE, fucking AEW as big as they just fucking do it because they don't.
yeah
fucking
they would
care,
trample all over
but-
that shit.
But whatever, and WWE can do whatever they want. It's not like they can't. They can't have competition. No, they can. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
Their company. It's not like people own fucking wrestling. But
right.
whatever. Yeah. What did Meltzer give this shit, Bob? It
4.75 stars.
no.
Oh my, no.
Yes. I agree. For once.
Three at best. If the finish wouldn't have been where it was, what happened, I would have probably given it a 4. It probably might have been match of the night, but no, I just nope.
Agreed.
I can't. This pay-per-view was very disappointing in the fact that
I mean, I don't think it was very disappointing. I just felt
and
like
the
it.
fact that it didn't deliver what it could have.
Could have, yeah.
Yeah, but that just means disappointing, not very disappointing. It just did not
It
deliver
became
what
a
it could
good
have. I mean, it's like this movie was very disappointing because it was a bit lower than disappointing. But how? Oh, I didn't like
Okay,
it.
anyway.
But how? I'm just saying. Okay, so like, yeah, it did not deliver, and I mean, it wasn't bad. I'd give the whole pay-per-view probably like a 7 out of 10, but it could have been a solid 8.5.
See, no, I'm dropping it down to like a 6.5 because those fuck finishes ruined it for me.
You negative
It
all
ruined
over.
it for me. I'm sorry. Like I could see it happening with one of the
Mhm.
matches, but not 2. Actually 3, because if you count Charlotte coming
How
in at the end of the
about all
match.
Yeah, they were all bad. I mean,
Yeah, I'd 6.25.
yeah.
I can't breathe.
Raw this
I
week
can't
was
breathe.
was a 1 out of 10 for me.
I didn't even
The only
watch
good
it.
thing about fucking Raw was the Randy Orton thing. That was it.
I didn't see it.
AEW 5 out of 10.
17.
NXT was lower than
7.5.
AEW, and SmackDown was a 0.5 out of 10.
0.
It was
negative
bad.
18,000.
It was freaking bad. It was bad.
Yeah. SmackDown was literally like, if you want to kill yourself, watch SmackDown.
I mean,
It'll help you.
It'd be that little midget boy. But anyway,
oh my
What?
god!
You want a small push?
Oh my god! Why am I friends with you guys?
I'm just saying, like, like, things have been said about him. Plus, he's small. Anyways,
what about
You're dead.
what about the rest of you? What with wrestling this week? Where would you sit?
best part about this week was nothing.
I mean, like I said, I enjoyed AEW for the most part.
Yeah,
so.
it was in my opinion, AEW was one of their worst shows, but it was better than the rest.
See, I thought
It
it was
was.
actually one of their better shows, but
Yeah. It's just like
AEW was better than the rest of them. Which when
I hated
JP
the-
says that,
I
you know,
kind of
that
hate
means a lot.
the tag match type thing.
Oh, the battle royale.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like that. It was just super gimmicky, and they had a couple of super gimmicky spots until the end. But like certain things I do enjoy, but I also feel like it's very gimmicky.
Sorry. For me, it was AEW was good. NXT definitely lower than AEW, like JP said. New Japan has been pretty good. They've been on these past few days.
I don't watch New Japan regularly, so
The other night they had Shingo versus Ishii, which was pretty good.
they have Open Road is going on this weekend.
Yep, and then apparently last night, Tanahashi and
Guess what? Every
she won.
fucking match is a tag.
That's too much. That's too much tag team.
I like it.
Every
like it.
fucking match.
No, I don't like it. Nobody likes it.
No, it's
Come on.
not.
I like it. You fuck
Why,
shut
why,
up.
why would you like watching tag teams that don't matter?
Why would I want to watch tag teams that don't matter?
You're watching.
That's my question to you.
That's what
But
you said.
these tag teams matter because there's always a story
Do
behind
they
it.
though?
They
Not
do.
always.
Don't
No.
even get me started. I'm not arguing this point with you again. We already did this.
I know. I know. We did do this, but what would you do? Never mind.
No. Ask.
What would you? No. It's probably.
Yeah, no, let's not.
Yeah.
Because when Basement stops himself, that means it's really bad.
It's probably best if we don't.
Okay, I won't ask then. And if it's about a midget, I'd punt that motherfucker across
Yeah,
the
go
river.
take me to fucking Neverland or whatever it is. I don't understand. I could cry. Like, they're hurting me. Jesus told me that AEW is better than
Fucking
just wrestling. I
the
enjoy.
fact that you just said take me to Neverland is fucking what the fuck?
So that being
Neverland ain't
said,
even a thing anymore.
anything you guys want to add? Trek, you always have little tidbits.
I mean, you should probably be in jail for the way that you feel about handicapped midget kids.
Right.
You know what? I fucking hate them too. I'm with
Oh my
you.
god, Trek.
Trek.
I think he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if he
Bobbit, do you
wasn't
have anything
tough-
to add?
years.
Yeah, Kyrie Sane got married, so this week gets a zero. It gets negative funny face out of 10.
Just get married to.
A negative funny face out of 10 for me.
What's her name?
No, you
What's her name?
What's her name?
What's her name? Who'd you
Nyla
get married?
Rose. So, hey,
don't. No, I don't need to.
you didn't. Nobody got the joke, but okay, whatever.
Oh my god,
Gina,
I got it. I just chose
I
to
don't-
not comment.
Gina, you got anything?
No, I don't think so.
Basement. You final.
Well, I got a couple things, but who'd you get married to, Bobbit?
I'm looking it up.
I don't know, some fucker who's luckier than I am.
Oh my god. You were. I'm not. I don't want to ruin
I mean,
your
you were
day.
probably like pretty low on the list.
You were probably
Okay,
like.
so Basement, I'm pretty sure that it's a woman.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was waiting for.
Because it says she got married to her longtime partner. Oh no, it is a him. It's a
Damn.
him.
Damn. Could he do the dinosaur?
She didn't name him.
Shingo
Yeah,
Takagi.
well,
But anyway.
she married a nameless human being, and I will take you, blank.
Trek, are you
I
back?
can't wait to get shot out of a cannon into your asshole.
Trek. Is he on his long adventures to the fucking toilet? And didn't
Sure.
fucking tell anybody? Well, don't say I didn't ask. I asked. What is so funny?
I feel like Trek is like literally keeping like a bunch of dead kids in like a pile.
he may be. I mean, look at his picture.
I mean,
So-
not dead kids, live kids that are soon to be
I'm
dead.
trying to
God,
figure out what
Basement,
is
shut up.
in his picture. What the fuck is he looking at? I don't.
And there's kids. I mean, live
He's
kids.
I
taking
know
a
he's
picture.
taking a bathroom selfie, but he's doing this thing. He's like my dad trying to look through his glasses. Why do fucking
Oh
people with
my
glasses
God.
do that?
Why do they look through their glasses so they can see?
Tilt the Why?
Fuck you, first and foremost. Why do people with glasses look through their glasses?
I have glasses
So
too.
I never knew.
I wear glasses too. I just never wear them.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
that's
god, so they can see. Oh my god.
I mean, look at it. Look, it does. It looks like he's looking down. I don't know if I'm
Looks
doing
like
this right or
you'll
not.
You'll never find home, Lisa.
Good god, you guys.
Truck you back.
Lisa, you'll never escape. I killed your parents and now
Oh
you're
my
my
god, Basement, shut up. Jesus.
So that being said, we're gonna end the show. Sorry, Truck. You're just gonna have to next time let me know that you're gonna go pee or
Oh
poop
my
or
God.
whatever
Good
you're
luck,
doing.
Lisa. I appreciate it.
Everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. I'm not
You
doing the
sound-
show this next week. Fuck it. I'm taking a week off from that shit. Fuck this shit. Fuck until wrestling starts figuring its fucking shit out. I'm done. I'm still doing pay-per-views though because fuck. How can you fuck up a pay-per-view? Oh, we'll just ask WWE. But
Yeah, exactly.
so that being said, everybody have a great night, and we will talk to you Tuesday night when we do on my channel, Sideline Study Podcast, if I feel up to it again. So yeah, everybody have a great night.
Basement, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Lisa.
Jesus Christ.
No.